Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
And we are live with a special Tuesday edition of Ringside Reporter podcast. My name is Eric Lorta, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. And we have a great show for you today. As always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till around 9 o'clock tonight. Today, we're going to talk about some big fights coming up in 2018, and we'll tell you all about them. Jeff Horn demanding some big money. Robert, this is like your type of payday for a fight with Terrence Crawford. But first, we get started with this. Beeb. Who said that Tony Bellew was going to beat David Haye?
You.
Beeb, who called the round that Canelo was going to knock out Amir Khan?
You.
It's true. It's very true. And who was the only one to pick Billy Joe Saunders over David Lemieux? Very true. It's very true.
Now,
What
Pete,
are you-
does this mean you have to give up your citizenship to the UK?
Hey, look,
Tyson Fury to beat
London
Vladimir
Jack-
Klitschko.
Union Jack, not the London.
No one did that.
I'm going to call it the
No
London.
one did that.
When are you people going to learn, man? Beeb, you guys know I'm undefeated in pie bets. Not undefeated this year. Not for 2 years. All time. I am the Floyd Mayweather of bets on the show. Nobody beats me. Got it? Nobody. Undefeated. Undefeated.
I will give
It's
you
a
full
whitewash.
credit, but I people on Twitter credit for Monday morning quarterbacking,
That's right.
saying, How could you have picked David Lemieux? Don't say it unless you said it before the fight. I just get so sick of
I
hearing
hate
these
that.
Monday morning
I
quarterbacks.
hate that. Well, they did the same thing with Rigo. They did the same thing with Rigo and Lomachenko. There was like a huge exodus of people like leaning toward Rigo in that fight. Like the day
And
of.
then
you-
then overnight he turned into an ant. Fucking man. Oh, he was too small.
Didn't people bet the odds because wasn't it like 8-1, and then all of a sudden it went down to like 3-1
Yeah, it
before
was
the fight started?
crazy. Yeah, it was crazy, man. I mean, it was crazy odds, you know.
But you know
And,
what? The odds makers did have that Lemieux Saunders fight like a pick 'em fight.
Yeah.
It was pretty much a pick 'em fight.
Yeah, and I think everybody.
All the odds were pick 'em fight.
Yeah, everybody thought that it was going to be, you know, Lemieux had one chance. I always looked at this fight like this, man. Lemieux has one shot to win, and that's his big shot. That's it. He doesn't have any real skill. I didn't think he had any boxing skill to corner Billy Joe Saunders or to get him, you know, thinking about anything. If anybody was going to do that, honestly, I thought Willie Monroe in his last fight would have had a good chance because Willie Monroe's a very good boxer. He had a really good shot in that fight, man. He just didn't throw enough punches. And that was
Did you
his
see
downfall.
Did you see the Endom fight with David Lemieux?
Yes, I did.
I don't remember it.
And I
did.
Endom, good boxer. He can move very well, and he's pretty quick. He was quicker than I would think he would be. He was quicker than Lemieux. It looked like he was quicker than Lemieux, but Lemieux off the ring very well. But I will say this: Lemieux's been looking very thick. Like he looked heavy in the ring that night. He looked very thick and stocky. And he's never looked that big until recently. You know, he looked like that against Curtis Stevens too. He's looked
I think
very big.
I think he's outgrowing the weight class.
Was AB, refresh my memory, man. Was in Dom the one he fought after he came back from Triple G?
No, I think that was before that. I think he fought in to get the vacant IBF title, if I'm not mistaken.
Which one was the one he came
That's
in?
correct.
And he looked like he had a bunch
That's
of
correct.
water weight on. He looked almost. I mean, he looked flabby.
Curtis Stevens, he looked very soft in that fight.
Was that was the one then? Okay.
Yeah, that
he
was
looked
the one.
bad in the Curtis Stevens fight. I thought he looked bad.
Yes, and I thought he looked a little puffy in this fight too. But again, we're not going to take anything. Billy Joe Saunders. I mean, I don't know if you thought he was going to win that easily. I know you felt he would outbox him, but Billy Joe Saunders, I give him full credit for what he did. That was a phenomenal performance.
Right.
Phenomenal performance.
Just in case you're wondering, the scores in an absolute whitewash, Billy Joe Saunders demolished David Lemieux by unanimous decision in Lemieux's backyard. Did him in his own crib. 120 to 108, 117 to 111, 118 to 110. I think I did give Lemieux, I think I gave him the last 2 rounds, or it was something around there. It was one of those because he had been whitewashed the entire time. I could see it 120, 108. I could even see it 117, 111. I could see it all of them. But
no, I scored it 12 to nothing. Man.
Yeah,
it wasn't even close.
Right. I mean, I could see it all. I could see it any which way, man. But I didn't think, I always thought that David Lemieux was on the slide, and I thought after the beating Triple G gave him, because he was just completely outgunned and outboxed in that fight. I thought that if he goes in against a seasoned fighter, he's going to have problems. Curtis Stevens, guys like that are made to order for David Lemieux right now. But, guys like Billy Joe Saunders and stuff, I mean, that's the guy you got to stay away from. I mean, those guys really, they have to stay away. If you're a Lemieux's guy, you're managing him or whatever, man, you've got to stay away from guys like that. And maybe he's the only one.
Well,
obviously
that's
was the
Oscar
only
De La
one.
Hoya for you.
Yeah, I mean, he was the only one that he could have got a title shot from. I mean, Canelo, I think Canelo would have done the same thing to Canelo, would have put him away, I think. But yeah, man, you got to stay away from guys like that. I was shocked at how easily Billy Joe Saunders beat him. I mean, I expected him to win. I expected it to be 116, 112. I expected it to be closer because it's, they're fighting in Canada, so you might get a little hometown lean there. But man, I mean, at no point was this even close. Did you guys see in the 5th round when he threw that right hand and Lemieux threw the right hand and Billy Joe Saunders backed up and looked into the crowd?
Yeah.
I was like, wow, man.
Yeah.
He was playing with him.
Oh, yeah, it was bad. I mean, like I said, man, it wasn't even close. What got me is at the end of the fight, Lemieux didn't even want to shake hands with him or anything like that. No sportsmanship, and then didn't give him any credit for winning the fight. Said he ran and this, and dude, he was not running. He just completely got outboxed.
What is this epidemic when you get your ears boxed off, when you get whitewashed in there, and you get outclassed? The fighter that is on the recipient end of that. Why does he always have to claim a hand injury? Is that the new thing now? When you lose 10 or 11 rounds in a fight?
Yeah, it must be, man. It must be. Like I said, I don't know.
When you're getting thoroughly outboxed and outclassed, all you got to do at the end of the fight is just say, "Hey, I got a hand injury."
Right.
Imagine going to work tomorrow and screwing up. I had a hand injury.
I had a hand injury.
I had a hand injury. Why did you blow the budget last month? I had a hand injury.
Between rounds, if you listen between rounds, Mark Ramsey, Lemieux's trainer, kept giving him the right instructions, but he wouldn't follow them.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But I don't think there was anything he could do. I mean, Saunders was just too quick on his feet. Lemieux is not that way. There's nothing.
The right instructions with the wrong person to carry them out. I mean,
exactly. Nothing he could have done. Incidentally, since we're talking about hand injuries, and that's what Lemieux said he had. I don't think we mentioned this. I don't think we've gone over this at all. I guess the X-rays were back from Rigo. We didn't go over the Rigo thing, did we? We don't.
No, we did not.
Okay, so what happened was the X-rays came back from Rigo, and I think it was his left hand or right. It doesn't matter. Neither hand was broken. It turns out it's a deep contusion, which equates to a bruise. Right. So he had
Robbie gets when he punches the wall at his house when he gets mad.
Yeah. So
same thing.
It was a bruised hand, so he said he couldn't go on. Man, I don't have to live with it. He's got to live with it. So it is what it is, man. Is what it is.
Let's just let's put it plain and simple. He quit.
Wow.
You know, in your defense, you wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
And we aren't doctors. You know, we didn't have the X-rays.
Right.
I suspected it, but that's the key word. I suspected it. I didn't know for sure.
Oh, and it's weird how like we always need to see X-rays, and I always see them like they were in the chat, and then they were on the I saw them on the boards and everything. They're saying well, we need X-rays and we need to see if he's faking, blah blah blah. The thing is, like, when Carson Wentz went down for the Eagles, their star, I guess their money quarterback or whatever, he was going to lead him to a Super Bowl. He went down, I guess, with a torn ACL. Robert, is that right? A torn ACL or something?
Oh,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah.
So, but
yeah,
nobody demanded
bad.
X-rays. Nobody like questioned it. And like when the football players go down, nobody like questions, hey, let's see his X-rays. Let's see if he can still play. They just take everybody's word for it. Nobody, I don't understand like why boxing is like that. Why fans demand, fans and reporters and everybody else demand X-rays and everything like that. But I don't know. I don't get it.
It was the same thing. Remember B-Hop in the Chad Dawson fight? When B-Hop fell in the ring and he said he dislocated his shoulder or whatever?
Yeah.
And people questioned that, but we never saw any X-rays or anything like that. And that kind of looked suspect because B-Hop fell on his side, then he rolled over on his back, then his shoulder hit the canvas. Like his shoulder hit first, whatever. Looked very suspect. Follow up on that. So that was pretty interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
At least we did get an X-ray in this one.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you, yeah, it was interesting, man, because where does that leave? Let's talk about the fight at hand now, the Saunders and Lemieux. Where does this leave David Lemieux? I don't think, it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be tough for him to get another title shot just because of who he's with, and people still want to see him. They like the kind of style he brings, that kind of, let's bang kind of style. Let's try to get each other out of there, that Cletus Selden kind of style. And we'll talk about him in a minute. But where does this leave him? Where do you think he goes from here?
168.
Well,
I think he has to, all right? I mean, 160. I mean, he's lost to Triple G. He's lost to Billy Joe Saunders. You either move up or you move down. I mean, you haven't beat any of the champions here. I mean, what do you do?
the only problem with that is though he's 5'9".
Yeah.
With like a 70-inch, 69, 70-inch reach, he's gonna have problems fighting those tall big guys.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
So I don't know where he goes from.
Well, that's for him and Oscar to figure out. But I say 168, and good luck. Good luck to you, David.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, what about Billy Joe Saunders, man? Let's talk about this for a second, man. Do you think he beats either Canelo or Triple G? Do you think he has a shot at beating either one?
I think he has a shot at both men.
Yeah.
And I think his better shot would be against Canelo.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I tell you what, because Canelo's a really good boxer too, and so is Triple G. But I don't know, man. Saunders can box.
But remember, Eric, Canelo has always had trouble with people moving and who can move real well, and that's one thing Billy Joe Saunders does.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't believe the improvement I saw. The last time I got to see him fight was when he fought Andy Lee, and he didn't look as smooth against Lee as he did against Lemieux, and I think he gives Canelo real fits. I think Triple G. Go ahead.
Well, I'm going to say the big thing, people are sitting there saying, well, if Golovkin couldn't land at will against Canelo, how's he going to do that against Billy Joe? But if you notice one thing about Golovkin is he's good at cutting off the ring, and he did cut the ring off well against Canelo. But Canelo did very well with his upper body movement. It wasn't like Canelo was moving an excessive amount. He was basically moving his upper bodies. He was staying in one spot, but dipping and ducking and bending at the waist a little bit. And on top of that, I think Golovkin was a little bit concerned about Canelo's power. So Billy Joe Saunders more or less uses his legs and not as much of his upper body movement as Canelo does. And I don't think he hits as hard as Canelo. So I think Triple G would be a little bit more aggressive, and I think he'd be able to cut the ring off. And I don't think you'd have to deal with as much slickness up top as he had to deal with Canelo. So that's why I think, Golovkin may have a better time with Saunders as opposed to Canelo. So and as Robbie said, Canelo has a hard time with the foot speed and the foot movement. So I think style-wise, the Canelo fight would be a better fight for Saunders, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
Yeah, and because I keep going back to the Laura fight, I gave that fight to Laura over Canelo. I think
Absolutely.
Canelo could do the same thing that Laura did against Canelo. Triple G, he's very, like Joe said, he's very good at cutting off the ring. He did that very well against Willie Monroe. He's done that against other people. I think that would be a more competitive fight. But you know what I'd like to see, since it looks like Canelo and Triple G are possibly going to get back together, I'd like to see Billy Joe give a title shot to Daniel Jacobs.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're trying to do. Jacobs came out and said he wants to fight Billy Joe Saunders. I think that's a really good fight, man. I think that's a really good fight. I tell you what, though, Billy Joe Saunders before was kind of a, that joke kind of champion, kind of almost like an Adonis Stevenson where nobody ever gave him credit. And I've always thought he was a lot more than Adonis Stevenson for sure. I didn't know how he would fare against a Golovkin or a Canelo, but I tell you what, man, he's really come along. He's really developed, and he's no gimme for either one of those two. Either one of those two are going to have to fight and buckle down and beat him, because he's not an easy out. No way. And like I said, I mean, he's got the ability to beat either one of those guys. And it was funny, Robert had mentioned the
Beeb.
Andy Lee fight. Hang on one second. Robert had mentioned the Andy Lee fight.
Right.
And when I was watching the Andy Lee fight, I remember that was the fight that kind of convinced me that he was going to beat Lemieux. Because Andy Lee has that one Sunday punch that he depends on. David Lemieux, no different at all. And you saw what Saunders did to him. It was just a one.
But that was a close fight, though. I thought that fight was pretty close.
Yeah, I thought this fight was going to be close. Yeah, no, I thought this fight was going to be close too.
No, but I thought the Andy Lee fight was close, and I'll tell you why. I thought Saunders got off to a really good start, fast start. I think he won like the first 5 or 6 rounds, maybe the first 5 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
But Andy Lee hit him with a straight left. And after that, when he got hurt, kind of went to a defensive shell. And he wasn't countering a lot. And I thought Andy Lee picked up a lot of those late rounds. I think I had that fight like I have to go back and remember. I think I only had Saunders winning that fight very closely.
Yeah. Because
that was a majority. I think that was a majority decision. One judge had that fight a draw. And I think it was a close enough fight where you could make an argument, maybe. He went into a defensive shell, and then Andy Lee came on strong in the second half. Say that was a fight that you looked at that made you think he would beat Lemieux. That was a fight where I thought that made me think Lemieux could beat him, because I figured if Lemieux hit him one time and hurt him, going to a defensive shell like he did against Lee, and maybe give up a lot of the late rounds, and especially being in Canada, if the fight's close, I think Lemieux would have gotten the benefit of the doubt if he was able to, be successful at applying pressure in the second half of that fight and taking those legs away. So that's an interesting point you just made, because you that fight made you go one way and it made me go the other way. So that's very interesting. That's very interesting, because that's the exact same fight that I was thinking of. That fight and what else? There was another fight. That fight and Lemieux's fight against Endam. Those 2 fights I really looked at, and I liked how Lemieux cut the ring off. And I also, as I said, a caveat against Billy Joe Saunders was how he went to that shell the second half. And he's also faded. He faded late in that Willie Monroe fight too. Willie Monroe picked up a lot of those late rounds too. And crazy as it may seem, I only scored that fight 115 to 113 for Billy Joe Saunders. I didn't think that was a great performance from him.
Yeah, I thought that was a closer fight. I thought, I gave the edge to Willie Monroe in that fight in the sense, not in the scoring, but going into the fight, I thought that Willie Monroe had but Willie Monroe is a much better boxer than David Lemieux. Now, whether he puts the punches together, whether he decides to throw enough punches that night, and give Billy Joe Saunders credit in that fight too. I mean, maybe he wasn't throwing as many punches because of what was coming back from Saunders. I don't know. Only he knows. So, we'll see what happens.
I'm wondering, though, Does Danny Jacobs have the skills to beat Billy Joe Saunders? Can he deal with somebody that moves? I don't think we've ever seen that with Danny.
These are all like, I mean, all of those fights,
Sergio Moore,
any one of those four are pick'em fights.
yeah, yeah, Sergio Moore was a good mover.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
He's very good. Yeah, he was very good. He was very good on his feet, man.
But let me ask you this real quick. If that fight happens, that has to be in the UK, no?
I think so.
To maximize the revenue?
I would think. I mean, think about it. I mean,
that'd be a great fight for UK.
Hearn is the promoter for Jacobs. Why not put it in the UK? I mean, it's a big money fight over there. Makes sense. Just makes sense. So, all right, let's talk about the undercard a little bit here. Cletus Selden. What did he fight? He fought just like a few weeks ago, it seems, wasn't it? Just a few weeks ago?
Yeah, he fought another undercard.
November 11th in Long Island.
Yeah, I mean, just about a month ago he fought.
He's on the Jacobs undercard.
Yeah, I mean, about a month, man, and then he turns it around 4 weeks later on HBO again. And hey, man, sometimes it's good to do that. Sometimes it's not so good. Cletus Selden versus Yves Ulysses. Yves Ulysses knocked Selden down in each of the first 3 rounds. He won a unanimous decision, 99-88 on all 3 cards. I don't know what round they gave Selden. Selden was completely overmatched in this fight. He couldn't cut off the ring. He got virtually no advice from his corner through all this. You know, he looked awful. He looked and his corner was horrible, man. His corner really got exposed in that fight. And he didn't know what to do against this guy. I mean, Yves Ulysses, I'll tell you what, I want to see this guy again, man, because he looked solid. He looked like a very solid fighter. Ulysses did. But I don't know, man. Is this something that Selden can recover from? And what are your thoughts on his trainer? Does he need a new one?
He needs a new one, and I don't think he'll ever be on premium cable ever again. He was outclassed. His management did a horrible job. They put him in against somebody that he wouldn't look good against. If they're trying to build his profile up by having him on back-to-back HBO dates, they did a bad job of matchmaking. He's got a lot of rehabilitating to do. I want to see the guy. I want to see Ulysses again. He looks good for 140. That's another 140 pounder that can get in the mix there and maybe stir something up. I was impressed.
I'm going to say one thing, because one thing is bothering me a little bit, and not with all due respect to you, Robbie, but the HBO commentators too. They were sitting there criticizing Selden for even being there, like, oh, he's totally outclassed, he's getting embarrassed, and that's all well and good. But at the end of the day, why? Like, how do you pass up to be on an HBO telecast if you're Cletus Selden? Because if you start turning down fights from HBO, the phone may not ring again.
Hey, they loved him 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, they loved him 4 weeks ago. Exactly, Eric. And now all of a sudden, he doesn't belong there. Right. But there's only one way to find out if you belong or you don't belong. You got to get put in those situations. And, okay, he came up short. But let's look at some positives here. He got knocked down a couple times, 3 times. But he kept coming. A lot of moxie in this fight.
2 of the knockdowns.
A lot of other guys. Okay, but he was getting hurt.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 weren't knockdowns, in my opinion.
He was getting hurt. He was getting busted up. How many fighters in that same situation we get discouraged and just kind of pack it in? The kid did everything he could and fought to the best of his ability. That's enough, or whether or not he has the skill set, like he didn't, to go far in the sport. Hey, he brings the right attitude to the sport. He tries hard. And even though he was getting thoroughly beaten, getting hurt, off 3 times, got up off the canvas to press on till the end. So, but just listening to like HBO and everyone saying, "Oh, this guy," blah blah blah. I mean, he got the call.
Right.
You know,
And
that he's a prize fighter.
And you called him because of his performance 4 weeks ago.
Eric, spot on. So obviously they like something about his style.
Right.
The style, this Ulysses character, but he still has a good style and a fan-friendly style. You can bring him back. Just look at Arturo Gatti when he would get blown out by guys like whether an Oscar De La Hoya, because obviously a couple levels above. But then when you put him in there with Mickey Wood, with all due respect, blockbuster fights. Saying that Seldon's even on that level, but if you put him in there with the right guy, you can get a good entertaining performance out of him, just against the right opponent. And
I blame this whole thing on matchmaking, because they put him in against a guy that was that has a completely different style, and that's why he looks so bad. He's got to be matched up against guys that he can compete against, and you know, in this particular case, he couldn't. But I give him credit for surviving the whole fight.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he kept coming at him, and again, a lot of other fighters would have just packed it in. So I'm going to give him credit for that.
I got to, and I agree with both of you guys, and I agree with Robbie also, man. It's matchmaking. You know, if HBO is going to sit there and down this guy, where you just had him on the broadcast 4 weeks ago and you loved him because he overwhelmed the guy, why would you put him in there against a guy who's a pure boxer? You know what I mean? I mean, Ulysses is a pure boxer. I mean, so his management has got to take some heat for this, but he's also got to HBO's got to take some heat for this too, because you didn't know what you were putting on is not anybody's problem. If you were expecting like an all action, both guys are going to go at each other and stuff, that's not what this was going to be. I mean, Ulysses was clearly a very well-schooled boxer, man. There's no question about it. You can see that guy has a pedigree. And whereas Cletus Seldon, only has 3 or 4 amateur fights. I mean, he's coming up. I mean, I mean, that's not the best, that's not the best thing to put him in. But, granted, again, it's HBO. So if I'm Seldon, I can't turn that down. It's a big money payday. You're out there and, you showed a lot of grit.
No, if you're the fighter, you accept it no matter what happens.
But for them to say,
the other people above him need to take a look at this and go, does he really belong in this matchup?
Right.
Is this going to work for him?
For them to say that he'll probably won't see him on this network again, I thought was really bad. I thought that was really, really bad. I mean, you just got to basically took the guy's career away over one performance, and granted, it wasn't a good performance, but I mean, he could be a crowd pleasing fighter, I mean, he can, so I thought that was pretty lousy of them to do.
I mean, he had 21 fights. That was his 22nd fight. I mean, at some point you had to step him up to see what he had.
Right.
And now they saw what he had. So now it's back to the drawing board.
Right. What did you think? What did you think of his trainers? Do you think they were giving him sound advice in there? Because I didn't hear really any wheel advice.
No.
They weren't telling him how to walk this guy down. They weren't telling. I mean, he couldn't walk him down. We couldn't cut him off the ring.
I think sometimes, and again, this isn't a cop out, but when certain trainers, these guys aren't really used to the big stage. Not sit there and say sometimes a fighter's not ready for the big stage. Sometimes a trainer's not ready for the big stage. Okay, it gets a little starstruck in a situation, gets a little deer in the headlights situation or scenario where he kind of freezes up, or the bull, and he's kind of tight in there, and to say to his fighter, because the other guy is so much better. So he's saying to himself, what can I tell this guy? What can I to be successful in this fight? Because let's face it, they know what they have as a fighter too. So you're not going to sit there and say, hey, you need to go out there and turn into Sugar Ray Leonard, because they know he can't turn into Sugar Ray Leonard. Obvious thing would be to say, cut the ring off. And then you say, well, how to cut the ring off? You have to anticipate, gauge where your opponent's going and try try to, start the movement and beat him to the spot and get the jump on him, which is what Marquez did a lot, who were faster than him. But the skill gap was just great here. It was too great. Anything you want about the trainer. The trainer could have told him anything. He could have stuck a rocket up his ass and say, go out there and knock him out. But that didn't mean it was going to happen. You know what I mean? So put the trainer in a tough situation because the trainer can only do so much with what he has in front of him. Same thing as a coach. With all due respect to Phil Jackson, I mean, he's a great coach, but he had great teams too. He did have Kobe, Shaq. Put him. What did he do with the Knicks?
How do you
know
not?
what I'm saying? So, yeah. So that's the thing. So I know we like to criticize a trainer sometimes, and justifiably so. It didn't really matter what he said.
No, I mean, it really didn't. And I don't think, you could have had Freddie Roach or anybody else in that corner. You could have had Angelo Dundee come back and be in his corner, and it wouldn't have mattered.
We've seen Freddie Roach in certain situations where he'd go silent in a fight.
But I would just like to see a little bit better advice being offered.
Yeah.
I mean, no question. Antoine Douglas versus Gary Spike O'Sullivan. Now, Spike O'Sullivan claims that he's a distant relative. Is this right? Of John L. Sullivan?
That's what I hear.
That's what he says. And he's got the look. He's got the handlebar mustache and everything he comes out with. He stopped Antoine Douglas in the 7th round. Douglas scored with an early, jabs and hooks and everything like that to the body. But O'Sullivan eventually wore him down, just pressured him the whole night. Just pressured him and eventually got him out of there. So, yeah, it is what it is. O'Sullivan, I'm not sure where he goes from here. He called out Billy Joe Saunders after that. He's not getting that fight. So it'll be tough to see where he goes from here. Go ahead, Robert.
I was going to say O'Sullivan was Billy Joe Saunders' main sparring partner for this fight. So, and they've already fought once before.
Yeah.
And Billy Joe beat him. So,
handily.
But no, I don't know what happens to him, but I can tell you, Antoine Douglas has never recovered from that severe beating that he got in his only loss. I know he's still pretty young, but I don't know how much future he's got left. I think that one fight that he lost back in 2016 left some devastating and long-term effects. I want to see him go through a lot of medical checkups before granted a license anywhere again. He looked like he didn't belong in there. And that's not the Antoine Douglas I remember watching on Showbox. I've seen most of his fights, and he looked like he had a bright future until his management put him in against somebody that he wasn't ready for. And unfortunately, I think there's been too much damage done. And I don't know if I want to see him ever fight again, unless he passes a lot of medical tests.
Beeb, you agree?
Yeah, I think that one of those types of beatings, it's going to be detrimental to the kid because he's really hurt, and you could tell when a guy's getting hit, and again the body language and how the head is being like moved around, and how the sharp jarring snapping of a head, and how the brain stem gets dislodged a little bit and knocked off, kilter a little bit from the cerebellum and stuff like that. That you never know. I mean, he's getting hit flush and often in these fights where he's getting hurt and he can't defend himself, and he's staying up and getting short circuited and going right out. He's taking shots and he's up against the rope like Jermaine Taylor, for instance, like the types of beatings he would take. The one against Kelly Pavlik where he was up there and Kelly Pavlik's just going boom, boom, boom. You see Jermaine Taylor's head go like that. Those are the ones where he's getting smacked around the scale.
Yeah.
Bruising starts. Hemorrhages and the brain bleeds start. So against him getting a cat right now and seeing what's going on because beating just like his other knockout loss as well.
You know, I mean, look, I don't want to see another Daniel Franco or Richard Colon. And if he keeps fighting without proper medical examination, I'm afraid that's what we're going to see. I thought Antoine Douglas had a bright future because every time I watched him on Showbox, he looked like he had the goods. But unfortunately, in both of his losses, it doesn't look good, man. I don't want to see him continue.
Wow. All right, let's talk about ESPN's card. We're going to talk about a few more fights, and then we're going to go to the phones. We're going to go over these pretty quick. Jeff Horn versus Gary Corcoran. Jeff Horn retained his WBO welterweight championship with an 11th round TKO over Gary Corcoran. This was a good fight, man. Both guys kind of had their moments in the fight. Overall, it was Horn kind of taking control and being the aggressor in the later rounds. The end came in the 11th. This is really odd when Corcoran's trainer, Frank Greaves, threw the towel in midway through the round just after his guy threw a punch. It was Corcoran that actually threw a punch, and then he actually threw the towel in. I guess they thought he was taking too much of a beating. I don't know, man. It was a little odd, but, it is what it is.
Suspect. Yep.
Yeah, it was a little suspect. I mean, I thought he could have finished the fight. I didn't think he was taking that much of a beating. I mean, both guys were bloodied up, I mean, he seemed to be doing fair in the fight. I mean, he wasn't going to win it, but yeah, maybe that's why they stopped it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Robert, any takes on this?
No. I know they were both cut. It looked like a typical Jeff Horn fight. But we'll see what happens with Gary Corcoran from here. Because I'd never seen him before, but he looked good for a while. He's in there, but onward and upward now, I guess. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. On Fox Sports, Jesse Vargas versus Aaron Herrera. Jesse Vargas won a unanimous decision over Herrera, 100-89. In Russia, Alexander Povetkin, your boy, fought Christian Hammer. Povetkin won by unanimous decision, 119-109, 120-108, and 120-107. Hammer falls to 22-5 with the loss. And that was pretty much your weekend. That was pretty much the weekend review here. Georgie Porgy. There is an all-points bulletin out now for Georgie Porgy. We bet on the David Lemieux, Billy Joe Saunders fight, and Georgie owes me a pie in the face. And he will answer for this. Anybody in the chat room?
I'm not worried about Georgie. He always
You quiet down and you listen to the champ, son. Anybody who sees Georgie Porgy out there, you get him and you bring him to the chamber. He will answer for this, and he's going to answer for this. Let's go to the phones. 937, you're live.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
What?
Hey,
Not much. Hey, you guys kind of knocked everything out, man. I was really just listening. Plus, my left hand is kind of hurt, so I can't. I can't really get off tonight.
He said he can't really talk.
Plus, it's not a Sunday night anyway.
Is it a break or is it a contusion, Wood?
You had to go there. That was bad.
Next time I get reprimanded at work, that's what I'm going to tell my boss.
Brought it up, no.
No, he quit, man. He just out and out quit.
Robbie ain't trying to hear it, man.
I needed to confirm it for Eric because he was like the last man.
I was kind of the last holdout, wasn't I? I was the last holdout. Well, I was just like I say, man, we don't ever need to see it for football or baseball, but
you were being more professional with him versus what they showed Cletus Selden the other night. So, tip my cap to you for that decency as a, as a host.
There you go. There you go.
I don't blame Selden for that, Wood. I blame the matchmaking.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the one thing what Eric was mentioning that it caught my ear, and I think I was tweeting about it for a minute. But all this trainer really said was like, he said something like, "You're having he said, "You know what your problem is? You're having trouble throwing your right." And his big help was, so throw it more. So have more trouble. But yeah, I mean, and maybe he was trying to tell him to double it up or to vary it, and not just throw singles with it or something. But yeah, he kind of did that. He kind of did Seldon a disservice that night.
Well,
yeah, I thought
as
so
we
too.
said earlier, I don't think it would have made much difference who was in the corner. It was a bad style matchup, and his management and HBO did him a disservice by putting him in against a pure boxer when it was obvious when he fought a month ago against a guy that was stationary, he looked good. And so you call the guy back and you have him come back a month later and you put him in against somebody that he's not ready for.
Wasn't even a month ago, though. I thought that was like 3 weeks ago.
It was like November 11th, and this turned out to be December 16th?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. No sense in digging into the details. But yeah. It was definitely an eye-opening experience for the guy. But like you said, I just thought it was and I had a writer on from boxing.com on my last podcast, and that's what we talked about, was like we just kind of dug into how the on-air talent, I was comparing how HBO and Showtime, and even I guess PBC's people, how they call the fights or call the action being what their relationship is to boxing and to the product that they have on, versus what we see on the NFL side and the major sports, when they don't really own that product. So they don't kind of, they don't really try. They just kind of more talk about what's going on versus kind of playing favoritism a little bit. So yeah, I think somebody said in the chat room, when it's time for them to move on, they kind of move on rather quickly.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of boxing broadcasting, guys, I know this wasn't in the show notes, but did you see where ESPN has told Teddy Atlas no more ringside appearances? You're going to comment on fights afterwards?
I did, and you know what? I blame Beeb for this. I blame Beeb and his little movement to get Teddy Atlas thrown off of ESPN. And you know what, Beeb? I don't forgive you.
I've been telling you guys.
I'm glad to see that.
How dare you?
I've been telling you guys he's obnoxious, and I was right.
Well, apparently Bob Arum had something to do with this, Beeb. He basically said, hey, look, I'm happy with the deal, but he's got to disappear.
I don't know about that, but all I know is I'm glad.
That you wanted replacing with, though.
I have a feeling that they're going to continue to look at different people.
Well, Kriegel sucks. He's no Teddy.
I like the idea. I like the idea of having a fighter in the booth.
You do. You got Tim Bradley. He sucks too.
Well, no, I actually think Tim Bradley's okay. I mean, I don't think he's that bad.
I think Bradley will do fine.
Oh yeah, you too. Yeah, you guys also picked Lemieux, didn't you? Yeah.
Bring Andre Wood in the booth too. I like him. He did a good job when he was there. The other one.
Yep.
And then Atlas is trying to fight with him. Sitting there getting like Atlas just goes out of his way to argue with people, and he's sitting there talking to Kriegel and say, "Well, your opinion doesn't matter anyways. You're just a beat writer." Like, who the fuck are you, Atlas? What did you ever do?
Trainer of champions.
Oh, stop.
Michael Moore, Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Michael Moore, who didn't follow instructions.
Yeah, Mike Tyson would have been a champion no matter who
became too redundant.
Amen.
Wow.
All he wants to do.
He argued this.
Go ahead, Wood.
Go ahead, Wood.
I was just saying. I just felt like he made a lot of his points. He didn't have to make them every week, and he didn't have to make them 20 times a show. It was almost like he I don't know. It was like he got too old to care what he was saying anymore, so he just did what he wanted to do. And, you know, everybody has to play their role in any situation they're in, so I just thought he got out of pocket too far. And then to start feuds with the people on air with you and bully everybody, you know, I thought it was a little ridiculous. But,
wow,
you know, oh well.
He was sitting there during the Jeff Horn. He was sitting there during the Jeff Horn Manny Pacquiao broadcast, and Tim Bradley was sitting there saying, I don't know, Jeff Horn's doing some good things in there. And then Alice is sitting there saying, oh, no, he's not, Tim. What are you watching? Like, to like impose his opinion on everybody, and if they don't have his opinion, then he gets like angry at them for not having his opinion or sharing his opinion.
You remember when he patted Bradley on the head?
Yeah, he's horrible. Freaking horrible. He has horrible scorecards.
One of the things that they cited in one of the articles I read about it was that he actually told Jeff Horn that he lost the fight. I thought he was a man about that. I thought he. It's not maybe not how you draw it up, but I can't fault him for saying what his opinion is and then, you know, saying it to a guy's face. And it wasn't like he said it to him.
Yeah, but it's the way you say it.
No, I thought you lost the fight.
Everybody loves Larry Merchant. All over him.
Like it's the way you say it. Well, you know, congratulations. You know, I had you losing the fight. It's like, well, you know, I got to tell you the truth. You lost the fight. I thought you lost it. Like he's just too over the top. Like I just the way he presents himself, he's just so he's cringeworthy. You know? And then as soon as the camera's on him, and then the camera goes on him, goes, well, you know, this is a good fight. And I don't know like that. Like I mean, you have to yell and scream like for no reason. Like, dude, the show is not about you. It's about the fighters. It's not about you. Even when he was training Michael Moore, they put the camera on him, and then he starts yelling at Michael Moore and putting on a show. And then he has to sit down in the corner when the camera's on and try, oh, you want me to fight for you? Like, dude, it's not about you. It's not about you.
He motivated him to victory.
Enough, please.
Well, you know, the biggest thing after the Lomachenko-Rigo fight was the big clash that him and Stephen A. Smith had. That whole thing went viral. But you know, I mean, the ESPN considered that the highlight of the night.
That's right.
And I consider that the disaster of the night.
It was better than the fight. He brings ratings.
Well, good riddance, Teddy Atlas.
How dare you? You know, Wood, I can tell you this.
Him and Stephen A. Smith can go play in a sandbox.
Oh, look at you. So, what a baby. You know, Wood, I tell you what, I can understand these two bashing Teddy Atlas, but you, it's terrible. Terrible.
I'm not bashing him. I'm just saying I feel like, you know, if he didn't want to play well with others, then it was going to be, I mean, it was going to be to his own demise. I mean, it's, maybe he didn't like the extra company. Maybe he didn't like the changes that they made and whatnot. But, you know, you don't have to. I thought he threw dirt on himself, on his own grave, and got himself out of there. I mean, it was.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Some birds.
It was a way that he could have went about doing his job and just and understood that it's no longer Friday night fights. You know, it was no longer his shop. And there was some new guys in the building, and he could have worked better with everybody.
Some birds are too colorful to be kept caged. And ESPN made a big mistake. I'm just saying.
And some birds.
Hey, before I get out of here, I just wondered: do you guys really think that? Andre Ward is really done for good?
No.
Yeah. I do.
No, I think he'll come back someday. I don't know who it'll be against, but I think he will fight again someday.
I think he'll come back.
I know he mentioned. Okay, yeah, I know he mentioned something on social media on one of his accounts that he misses the game a little bit. I mean, he's only 32, 33 or something. There's just no way I see him being gone for good.
Nope.
No, but Wood, who can entice him out of the retirement stage? I mean,
fight Tony Bellew.
His weight class, who can you know, make him move up or fight. So who would it be?
Yeah, there's nobody really out there.
You should fight Tony Bellew.
Yeah, I mean, he could. Well, that fight was
At
on the
light
table.
heavyweight?
Yeah, that fight was on the table.
No, he can fight him at cruiserweight.
He was talking about going up.
But
He was talking about going up to
Bellew
heavyweight.
is still waiting on David Hay. See, that's what I don't like about that. Bellew could be doing other things instead of waiting for somebody that constantly hurts himself.
What about Andre Wood versus Joseph Parker?
Oh, I think he murks Parker. Yeah, I think so.
I think Joshua's going to take care of that scenario.
Yeah, Parker won't be relevant after that. Joshua will have all the belts, and Deontay Wilder have the other one, and that's it. And Eddie, he doesn't have a chance against either one of those two. They're too big.
There's one fight that I really
That's
want
right.
to see. I want to see Mikey Garcia versus.
How quickly
Yeah.
How quickly did they move us past the whole Ortiz situation, the debacle with the test, and the suspension, no suspension, all of that, into Wilder being ringside, and then now we have a fight going on. I mean, all of that happened like in record timing.
Well, you know, the PBC is starting to remind me of the WWE. They're trying to set up their scripts here, and like it's preordained. You know, it's really starting to look that way.
It had to do with the fan backlash. The fans are really disappointed that fight didn't happen with Wilder, and they were kind of critical of the whole situation themselves. And the WBC, you know how they are. They're never gonna really be consistent with anything that they do. So it's what can you say? But I'm glad. I mean, I'd love to see Wilder fight Ortiz. I'd love to see that fight.
Yeah, no, I think that's what's going to happen now. I think Joshua will fight Parker, take that belt. Wilder is going to fight Ortiz, and then after they have their fights in the fall, we get a Joshua Wilder fight.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's a great heavyweight fight. I think, you know, it puts a lot of pressure on it to live up to the expectation. That'd be good. And I think, you know, maybe some people with some suits on just realized that the Wilder-Joshua fight was going to be more complicated than, you know, than what we all may have hoped for. And it's a way to kind of build up to that and keep us interested, you know, keep us all very interested in the midterm. So I'm not too mad at it. It just was kind of, it just made us like ignore a lot of stuff that we all saw. So I don't know, you know, they got back around to it, I guess.
Yep. No, Wood, you've been on point the whole call, man. You got it nailed, brother.
I thought so, except for the Teddy Atlas thing.
Hey, will you? Hey, Teddy's great, man. Teddy's great.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Okay, so I mean, are they really going to get anything out of having? Oh, the one thing that was horrible. Now you got to give it this, Eric. Teddy, after the Lomachenko thing was in social media and everywhere else for like a good 3 or 4 hours, after the fight, Teddy Atlas like needed a drum roll before he gives him his new nickname that everyone, like he gave that to him and the name was already out there in the world. It was hilarious, like how tone deaf the guy can be.
Well, you know what's funny is Lomachenko said it after the fight. He said, "I'm going to be known as Nomaschenko from now on." And then Teddy Atlas like unveils it like it's him.
That's what he said.
Well, and then right, and then Teddy comes on like 15 minutes later and was like, "Stephen A, I'm gonna reveal his new," like he was doing the big reveal on something that.
Because it always has to be about him.
We're already beyond that.
Oh yeah, he always has to try and steal the spotlight. That's because that's who he is. He's an attention whore.
He's an entertainer, Beeb.
He's an attention
entertaining at all.
Well,
he's an attention whore. Put the camera on him. He'll be talking to you normal. He's in the camera. That's what he does. He's a clown.
Give me a break.
All right, Wood, we're going to go ahead and get running, man.
See you later,
Mr. Teddy Atlas.
Right, have a good one.
All right, man.
I sent him a Christmas card. Thank you for not being on ESPN anymore. Oh, he's horrible.
702, you're live.
What's up, guys? It's Rob Palmer.
Hey, Rob,
Hey,
how
Rob,
are you?
what's up?
Our rankings
How's it going?
guru. Our rankings guru. Now, if anybody wants to, if anybody disagrees or anything with the boxing rankings or anything like that, tweet it out to @FanBoxingRankings on Twitter, and tell them if you have a favorite pound for pound, or if there's some rankings you disagree on. We look for support and everything like that, and we look for your input as well when we make these fighter rankings. And Rob works his tail off on these rankings, so definitely give him a shout out and follow. Give him a follow. What are you guys doing, man?
Rob, what's Teddy Atlas ranked as far as boxing announcers go?
Number one. That's where you are.
What do you rank Teddy Atlas? What do you rank Teddy Atlas, Rob? Is he ranked
I agree with you on Teddy Atlas, Steve. I'm glad he's gone.
Oh, how dare you!
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, it's horrible.
Thank you.
I've never been a fan of Teddy Atlas. And I tell you what, I texted this to Eric a moment ago. HBO, their team, I mean, Lampley and Kellerman, they are elitists. And boxing is it's a blue-collar, working-class sport. I would imagine that, 95% of the guys listening to this show involved working in boxing come from working-class, blue-collar backgrounds. And that is not Max Kellerman. That's not Jim Lampley. Even down to, you'll notice this next time you watch a HBO card. Max Kellerman does not even look at the fighters when he asks them questions. That's just just such disdain and the level of disrespect for these people that they are beneath him. That's how it comes across to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no,
I did not like the way they handled that
Cletus
Sullivan fight. And the way they disparaged him through the fight when, just like I said, 4 weeks ago, they loved him. Not good.
Yeah. So you guys, a few weeks back, you guys were talking about, you were throwing out there the idea that Joshua didn't want to know about this Deontay Wilder fight. And you were pretty hard on Joshua. And then in the last few weeks, I saw Wilder come out and say, it's 50-50 or the fight doesn't happen. Now, to me, that's saying from Wilder, he don't want the fight. And he only wants it if he's going to cash out his belt.
Well, the way I look at it, Rob, is there's no way that Deontay Wilder is going to get 50-50 against Anthony Joshua, because look at what Joshua can do over in the UK. Every time he fights, he sells out places. 90,000 people at Wembley, 78,000 in Wales. I mean, Deontay Wilder can't compete with that. He's got to wake up and realize that he's the B-side, whether he likes it or not.
Absolutely.
I think it's just part of the negotiation ploys that these guys do.
Yeah, what's he going to say? Like, I want 70-30 or I want 30-70,
It's like anything else. When we go on job interviews ourselves, we're going to sit there and try and get the most we can. So I don't disparage the fighters for doing this. Jeff Horn allegedly wanting $5 million to fight Terrence Crawford. So what? I mean, shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you catch a few styles on the way down. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I don't really begrudge him for that. I mean, like I said, what's he going to do? Come out and say, Joshua gets 80% or 70%?
Yeah.
If he says 50-50 or the fight's not happening, there's a good chance. He knows he's not getting 50-50 for that fight. He knows his worth, and he knows Joshua's worth. He's going to try
55-45.
But 55-45 or 60-40, that's a good split.
Yeah. But if he does, just fight.
And if you really broke it down relative to what these guys are generating, then you're not even looking at 80-20 though. That's the truth.
No, you're right.
And another thing Deontay Wilder's got to realize, if he wants to fight Anthony Joshua, he's got to punch his passport. He's got to go to the UK. That's the only way that fight's happening.
I'm not so sure. I
think Vegas can put
it on. Yeah, I think Vegas can put it on.
I think Vegas can do that.
Wanting to travel.
I think what they would be holding out for, though, is that they would want to get
both guys to the point where not only it's a Vegas fight, not only is it pay-per-view in the UK, but where they could also charge a pay-per-view in the US. And the fight's not at that level right now, and that's probably the goal of where they want to get it to.
People don't realize, or maybe they do realize, but they just overlook it. When you do a fight in Vegas, you can charge a lot of money for tickets, get nice site fees. Casinos pay big money for fights. You know what I mean? And they sell tickets at high prices and buy those tickets. So everyone wants to talk about stadium this, stadium that, and I'm sure, Joshua's generating a lot of revenue over there. There's no question about it. But these Vegas casinos can also generate a lot of money without having the same size crowds. They could do the same comparable revenue, I believe.
I think they might even be able to do more.
Yeah, and it's even the same thing with fights being in major cities like New York and LA. People will pay more money for tickets in the big cities. Then if you're selling 5,000 tickets in New York, you're probably still generating more money than if you did 8,000 in Dallas or somewhere else.
Well, and look at it this way. Remember when Ricky Hatton fought in Vegas? A lot of people from the UK flew over there and took over the place. And I bet you the same thing would happen if Joshua were to fight in Vegas.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I agree.
So just last one before I go. So the Twitter handle is it's Fan Box Rankings, just Fan Box Rankings, not boxing.
Oh, I thought it was a box. I'm sorry.
And I want to get pound for pound lists from people. I'd love to put together a collective pound for pound list. I put mine out a few weeks ago. Got a little bit of criticism on the show, which is fine. But I want to get everyone's kind of opinion. I want to get everyone's opinions together. So Fan Box Rankings. If you don't on Twitter, if you don't have Twitter, then email me robp135@gmail.com, and by the end of the year, I'll correlate kind of a group list, and that's the fairest way to do it.
Very good, man. Very good. And like I said, man, I can't thank you enough for the rankings. I know you work hard, man, because I tell you what, he's got every ranking on there you could possibly imagine. And, 1 through 10, 1 through 15, it's crazy. It is. I mean, there's a lot that goes into this. It's not just, here's what I think, and he puts them down. I mean, there's a science behind it. So he does a great job, man, for sure.
Yeah, and there's a poll going on still right now. I think Beeb's retweeted it. I think you guys have retweeted it. Who's the number 2 middleweight behind Golovkin? Is it Saunders? Is it Jacobs? Or is it Canelo? I think Canelo's winning right now, and then Jacobs and Saunders are pretty close. I think Saunders is just edging Jacobs right now, and that will decide the rankings. That will decide 1, 2, 3, and 4 for us.
Well, that's why I think Saunders and Jacobs should fight.
Yeah, I tell you what, the issue with that is that Saunders is with Frank Warren and Jacobs is with Eddie Hearn, and those two do not work together. That is as bitter as any rivalry is in boxing right now.
Okay.
It would have to be a purse bid situation for that sort of fight to get done.
Kind of like Don King and Bob Arum used to be.
Yeah, for sure. But I'd say if you're either of those guys right now, you're waiting on the golden goose. You're waiting on Canelo or Triple G, and then fight the winner of that rather than risking it for probably what's going to be a faction. And that might be the unfortunate reality right now.
Yeah. Well, you're probably right about that.
The other guy that's kind of the sleeper in the picture is Charlo. I mean, he's on Showtime right now, but if he can make the jump over, then he's another addition to that.
Well, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he's one of Golovkin's mandatories.
He is. Derevanchenko is the mandatory for the IBF. He's an exciting fighter as well. So it's all the. If you look across when I look across the rankings, as you see there, the traditional marquee divisions, heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight, welterweight, featherweight, are all stacked right now. So boxing's in a good place in that perspective.
Definitely.
No, we have the potential to have a wonderful 2018, man, if people can make the right fights.
I agree.
Well, happy Christmas, guys, and I'll speak to you in the new year.
Oh, you too, man. Thank you so much.
Have a great holiday, brother.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff, man. And he does. He works. Can't thank him enough for putting that stuff together.
Yeah,
man. That's
everyone cut him some slack because we know how subjective rankings can be, and he's actually getting your input, requesting your input, and you guys have a voice. So
yeah.
Shout out to Rob.
You know what I noticed too is he doesn't like just because a certain guy, because Lomachenko fought this weekend or last weekend or whatever, and he won, and so now he's at the top of everybody's pound for pound ranking. When Terrence Crawford fights next, he'll be at the top of everybody's pound for pound rankings. You know what I mean? Billy Joe Saunders fought, so everybody's choosing Billy Joe Saunders now. It's just the latest kind of thing, and he doesn't really subscribe to that. He's got his own way of doing things, and that's what we like about him.
Yeah.
All right. 970, you're live.
Is that hand wraps?
Yeah.
Boys, what's up? Can you guys hear
Hello,
me?
hand wraps?
What's going on, HW?
What's up?
What's going on?
I missed you.
Hey, man.
Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
To the champ, the undefeated.
Undisputed.
That never gets it wrong.
Never.
Who's that, Beeb?
Me.
Eric, of course, man.
Hello.
Oh, God.
And we wish you a speedy recovery, Eric.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
You, buddy.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much.
Hey, man, we're just calling to kind of, give Beeb some shit. I know he's got his next pick against Canelo already, right, Beeb? You got that next loss ready, right, buddy?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm under contract. I can't ever bet on Canelo to win anything.
Well, we all know you picking Saunders, buddy. We all know you picking Saunders. That's all good.
That's a real tough fight, though. That's a tough fight, him and Saunders. That's a tough one.
That is a tough fight. That is a tough fight for Canelo, man. I'm not even gonna lie. You guys know I'm a Canelo bandwagon over here, but yeah, that's a tough fight for him, man. That boy can move way better than I thought. I mean, I thought Lemieux would land something. I mean, I didn't know if he would win or not, but I thought he would land something. That boy didn't land nothing, man. He looked like shit. That was a horrible fight. I mean, it was a good fight for Billy Joe, of course, because he gets to fucking now flaunt and make it look like he's been unmotivated this whole time and he can't wait to finally get a real name. Even though we all know that boy been hiding in the bushes, man. And now he want to come out and be a part of the party. It's all good. If that boy get his paycheck, I'm not a hater, bro. If that boy get his paycheck. I was just calling to make fun of you, Beeb, because I already know what's coming in the future. It's hilarious.
It'll be a tough one, though. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
Go ahead, Beeb.
I'll be honest with you. If I picked Billy Joe Saunders in that fight, I would have a little bit of doubt. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be like a fight and I'll be like, yeah, I'm pretty confident in this. This is one that you can't just you can't dial this one in because that's a tough fight. Either guy can win that fight. There's no question about it. I don't want to do put the cloud of controversy over Canelo, but we all know his style is very favorable to judges. So if the fight's close, he's going to get round. We know that.
I was surprised he got so many in Canada. I really was. I was expecting to be closer because it was in Canada. And wow. I mean, he just completely demolished that guy.
But Lemieux's got to land a punch in order for that.
Yeah, right.
And the Canadian judge, one that scored at 120 to 108, and the UK judge is the one that gave Lemieux 2 rounds.
He was looking for rounds to give him.
One judge gave Lemieux 3 rounds.
Had he landed 3 more punches, he'd have got 3 more rounds. But he didn't land 3 more punches. So that was it, man. Yo, man, like you guys never failed to give the knowledge, man. I had no idea that old boy Sullivan was related to the old school boxer, man. That's dope. That makes me like him even more.
Well, that's the theory. It hasn't been proven or anything like that. But the thing is, I would just run with it. I would just run with it like Tommy Morrison ran with the John Wayne thing. I don't think he was I don't think he was. There was no evidence that he was ever related to John Wayne, ever. All you got
to do is go to Ancestry.com and get all these answers.
That's right. That's right. but it's fun to go along with that, you know.
Man, I'm believing. I believe in anything that comes out of the champ's mouth right now, man.
There it is.
Oh God, stop! Please, please.
It's the truth, man.
It's the truth.
The boys been getting them right. I hope you pick. Please pick.
No, that was
rematch. Please, begging you.
That huge pick that he did that really opened my eyes was that what the hell is his name there? Bellew. The Bellew.
Yeah.
That Bellew pick was amazing. I didn't see that coming. It was almost as good as my Tyson Fury pick over Klitschko.
I don't think
back in the day.
everybody saw that one coming. Klitschko.
Yeah.
Klitschko was over the hill in that fight. I think everybody saw that one coming.
I was getting laughed at when I was picking Tyson Fury. Then I picked Cotto over Martinez.
You picked.
Speaking of Fury, guys, did you see
Canelo.
the picture of Fury in Billy Joe Saunders' dressing room?
Yeah,
he looked like he slimmed down.
Yeah.
What did you think of him, Robert?
He still look hella overweight, man.
He still looks pretty big, but looks like he's working
he got that bypass surgery.
Yeah, some dance moves. That boy got dance moves. That's a good dance move. He's been working in the dance. Yeah, he's been at the dance floor with them little ladies trying to get some girls. You know what I mean? That's go balling.
I was surprised at how much he's dropped so far, man. He looks small. He looks a lot smaller.
I'm surprised he ain't dropped more with all that coke he's doing, man. What the fuck? Anyway, sorry.
Oh my God!
That's getting out of hand there.
Oh wow!
Hey guys, I ain't called in a while, man. I'm sorry. You know, I know that you guys got this new local caller that been blowing up the airwaves. So you guys.
Oh yeah.
Robert's
for my
favorite.
stupidity. You guys got plenty stupidity on the phone nowadays. You know, I'm really curious. I saw that he's in the chat, and I cannot wait for his phone call. I cannot wait for this guy to defend Garcia versus Lipinets, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you can defend that, really.
How many fights on the table is that boy pass up? And he decided to sell out for Lipinets? You guys saw Lipinets' last fight, right?
Yes, I did.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's just pathetic, man. It's ridiculous. And then Garcia also, you guys saw his win, right? Yeah. Anybody impressed?
Well, like I told somebody yesterday, hand wraps, Mikey Garcia's got to realize he's in the PBC universe. If he thinks he's going to get any other promoters fighters, he's got another thing coming because Al's not going to allow that.
Yeah, man, I'm with you guys. And, you know, I'm really not the guy to pick sides. I'm not a PBC hater. I like the PBC. I love everything that they're doing. And, you know, I'm also not, riding their ass. Like, I'm not an Al Heyman ass fucking kisser where everything they do, I'm just trying to fucking defend it. This is obviously a retarded ass move for Mikey Garcia. He beats Lipinets. Who's he got next? He's the champ. Now what?
Well, if I'm the WBC and at 135, I strip him of the title because he refuses to defend it. I mean, that's exactly what I do. I mean, he could have fought Robert Easter and had a unification bout, but no, he chooses this dude instead at 140.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. I mean, the only thing, because there's really not a whole lot of people up in the 140 area either. I mean, there's really not. He could have made.
No.
It seems like there was more money in the 135 area for him.
Absolutely.
So it's a little odd, but my guess is he's getting paid pretty well.
He said it in the press conference today, or was it yesterday? I don't remember. That he said that he wants Linares, but he wants him at 135. So like, why the fuck are you going up for a fucking 140 fight? Like,
because he wants to steal another belt, and see if he does that, he'll become a 4-time world champion in 4 different weight classes, and he wants that on his resume.
I thought he quit boxing because he just wanted the matchups. I thought that's why he left boxing a few years ago, right? Because he left boxing because he wanted to get out of the contract that he had with Arum.
All right, so let me ask you: the fight's taking place. The fight's taking place at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Isn't that a 60,000 seat arena?
Yeah, you could put like 60, 70,000 people in there, and there's no way in hell that many people are going to show up for Mikey Garcia.
I was going to say, how many people are they
Come
expecting over there to put that fight? I mean, is he really that popular? I don't know. I don't, you know. Where is he? He's from California. It's not even like he's from Texas.
Yeah, I hope he surprises me, man. I hope he surprises me and he fills up some of the arena. But Jesus, there's no way, man.
I mean, Canelo couldn't fill up. No, Canelo
Southern California, and he's fighting in San Antonio, Texas.
What did Canelo fill up? 35,000 of that's when he fought.
The last time Canelo fought at the Alamo Dome, he drew 40,000 for Austin Trout.
Jesus Christ!
Was it? No, he fought Kirkland. Didn't he fight Kirkland?
He doesn't do 10. He does 12, maybe 15.
Or was that in El Paso?
Yeah, well, Eric, when he fought Kirkland, he fought at Minute Maid Park in Houston, and he drew 30,000 for that.
Okay, that's what it was.
Oh, did he?
And then you're saying he drew 40,000?
Yeah, I knew he drew a big number once. I didn't know it was 30. Jesus.
Yeah, and he drew 40,000 when he fought at the Alamo Dome for Trout.
Gotcha.
Oh shit, that's news to me, man. That shows you how much I know. Holy fuck.
I mean, the one thing Canelo has proven he can do, he's the one fighter that we have on this side of the pond that can actually fill up a stadium. Look at what he did at Cowboy Stadium with Liam Smith.
Damn. Hey guys, before I go, I want to say one last thing. Robbie, get off my boy Stephen A. Smith, man. Boxing needs Stephen A. Smith, man. He's got the loudest fucking mouth. He's got the most followers. He's all eyes on fucking First Take, him and Max.
Hey, you know what? Teddy's trying to join his party, and that was a horrible disgrace the other night.
Oh, I know he's annoying. He's annoying as fuck on First Take too, man. He's annoying across the board. But facts are, if he gets involved into boxing and he gets more publicity, that's all better for the sport, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. We all fucking hate his commentary. We all think he's a dumbass and knows nothing about boxing. But boxing needs him, man. Let Stephen A. get in the mix, man. We need.
Well, believe me, he's going to be there now. He's going to be there, and I bet you after every ESPN card now for the next 3 years, we're going to see him and Teddy throw down every single time.
It's a new segment. Everybody loves it. They tune in for that.
Man, that's hilarious.
They tune in for it.
Oh shit! All right. All
right. See you later, brother. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you guys, also, man. I'll let the other random dumbass get on the phone now. So, have a good one, guys. Take
All right. See you.
All right, man. Good call, hand wraps. Corey's in the chat claiming he's been on hold for 2 hours. Of course, Corey. If you're online, hit 1. I think it's 1. It connects you, right?
You got to hit 1. Yeah.
Yeah, hit 1.
If you don't hit 1, the Eric can't see you on the switchboard, man.
That's
You're invisible.
Right. And of course, we got one more caller, and then we go to our favorite caller of the week. And you guys know who that is.
Okay.
So now, though, we go to 773. 773, you're live.
Hey guys.
Dale. Hello, Dale.
What's happening, man?
I'm opening for Jason tonight, huh?
That's right. You're the opening act for Jason tonight. That's right. Jason has become so big, he needs an opener now.
Hey, Dale, I feel sorry for you. You got to open up for the PBC Al Heyman on this show.
Oh, wow. Robbie going in already. Going in.
Hey, you know what, though? I actually kind of like hand rap sport. I honestly, I like PBC. And
okay.
I defend, I like at least the idea. I like fights on free TV and over-the-air TV and basic cable and all that. I think that's great. And Beeb, he's been a defender for them a while. But you got to call BS when it's time to call bullshit, And
that's right.
Not everyone's perfect. I mean, pick any side of the street. You can find plenty to be critical of, right? They're not exempt from that. So, yeah.
See, that's one thing about this sport. No matter what side you pick, whether you're HBO, whether you're Showtime, whether you're PBC, whether you're ESPN, you can find something wrong with every side of the street. That's how this sport works.
Big time. Yep, exactly. I might not be as passionate of a follower as Jason of the PDC. I don't know if anyone is, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting fights, though. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're getting fights. You're getting big fights. So what do you know? Hey, at the end of the day, I mean, you're getting Errol Spence, you're getting Thurman, you're getting all of the guys, man. So
yeah.
Yeah, they got a stable of freaking awesome guys.
Studs out there, man.
They just got to get out there more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
But yeah, and shout out to Wood on the David Lemieux joke. I was dying at that.
That was
We actually just got Wood's X-ray back, and it is a contusion, not a break. So Wood,
that was good. Yeah, I love that. I couldn't believe Wood. I couldn't believe Wood. He had to go there, man. It's like, oh wow, like
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I cannot use my left hand,
Yeah.
It's no good. But anyway, yeah, guys, we'll move through. I know you guys a big night.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas, Dale.
Corey.
Yeah.
You too. Merry Christmas.
Right.
Real quick, the one card you guys didn't talk about, Robbie's favorite, the Katie Taylor, Jessica McCaskill card.
Katie Taylor won that fight. Was it did she knock her out, or was it a unanimous decision? I don't know. I know she won.
It was a decision. Yeah.
Well, Dale, the day of the fight, the Chicago Tribune ran a nice article on her. And the next day, I expected them to have a write-up on it, and I didn't find it anywhere. It's like, just because she lost, just because she lost, you're not gonna let people know. I mean,
no, Katie Taylor didn't lose. Katie Taylor won.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the girl she fought.
Oh, who cares about her?
In Chicago.
They did a nice write-up on her because she's from Chicago, and then the next day they had nothing in there.
Yeah, who cares? You're never going to hear from that girl again.
Yeah, no, and yeah, no, exactly. No, she gave Katie a good fight though. I was impressed, and even Katie was like, "That might have been my toughest one." Yeah, Katie Taylor won hands down, but
yeah,
whatever. Shout out anyway.
Yeah,
but
Dale was ordering French fries from her 2 days later.
What's up?
I said Dale was ordering French fries from her 2 days later.
No, actually, she works at a bank, Eric.
No, but she's like an analyst at a bank.
Yeah. I mean, they ran a whole big article on her the day of the fight, man, and then the next day you don't see anything in their paper. It's like, okay.
Well, what are they going to do? Put it in? She got pasted. I mean, what? What?
Exactly. I mean, how many boxing stories will the Trib Zetters have let in the paper?
Hey, not very often, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, there was that banker from Cleveland that got whitewashed by anyway.
What's up?
I said there was that banker from Cleveland that got whitewashed by anyway. Remember that on the last Superfly card?
That's true, yes.
Yep.
The bank teller, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Hey, man.
Yeah, and anyways, fighting on the 30th, and if he wins, he'll be added to the new Superfly card.
If he wins, who's he fighting? He's fighting something like Sushi Chef or something like that. He's not fighting anybody good.
Either way, whatever the next Superfly card is, I'm watching. That was great.
Yeah,
February 24th. It's already booked.
All right, right on. Very good. And then I'll touch on the FS1 card real quick in front of Jason, and thought that was because we got to bring it up. No, but I thought that was a good card. That was a fun card. And
well, you know what? John Molina pulled out another one like he always does.
Get knocked down twice and then come back and knock the MF out.
Yep, he sure did.
Yeah. It was fun, mate. That was an entertaining card, man. No question. All good. The HBO and Laval. I mean, I think you guys, people talk about it. Man, Billy Joe, I was impressed. I love this fight going in. I was excited as hell. And I was picking Lemieux by stoppage, late stoppage, because I was thinking, yeah, he'll give him Billy Joe, give him some problems, but he fades late and all that. But he didn't fade late, man. He was in awesome shape, and Lemieux, maybe 160 might be time to forget about 160 for him, and I think his power is good enough. It might move up to 168. I don't know.
It's time to put on the pounds, brother, and go do some work at 168.
He's got no other options.
Maybe him and DeGale can have a redemption fight. Him and DeGale at 168.
There you go. So, yeah.
Redemption.
Yep. There you go. You could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Because, but man, the fact that Billy Joe Saunders, BJS won by decision, that is not a shock. I picked Lemieux, but I wasn't shocked. That was an outcome that could easily happen. But he took him to freaking school, man. Schooled him, start to finish. I didn't think it was. Sometimes it's not a crowd pleasing style. I was entertained. I thought the way he moved, he was clearly made promise for Lemieux. He couldn't cut off the ring. He was chasing him, but he was countering. He touched him, man. He was hurting him. So anyway,
it was a whitewash, man, from start to finish.
Yeah, total sweep. I actually in my card, not that it mattered, my freaking card doesn't matter for shit, but I was watching it and I gave him courtesy 12 because that was the one round where BJ literally just ran around. And I was like, all right, F you, I'm giving it. Yeah. But I'm not a judge. If I was actually judging it, and like you said, the French-Canadian guy was the one guy that made it a sweep for Saunders, so there's no BS there, yeah. So
yeah, and the UK guy is the one that gave Lemieux 2 rounds.
yeah. He wanted to make it seem like he wasn't in the bag, right? Yeah. But anyway, so and then yes, we talk about Spike Sullivan, Douglas. I know a couple guys here in Chicago named Sully that also claim heritage John L. Sullivan. So
I'm sure he's not the only one.
You probably know some guys
right.
in town too.
Yeah.
But I like it. I dig it. I say run with it. Rock the mustache. It's great.
There you go.
And Douglas, man, I will say this for, there's plenty to criticize HBO's commentating crew. Douglas was on that night. He was on that freaking night.
I'm telling you, I seen Douglas lose the first time when he got the royal shit beat out of him in March of 2016. And he looks bad. I don't want to ever see him fight again unless he passes several medical tests.
Sorry, I just looking at the chat.
I don't want to see another Daniel Franco, guys.
No, exactly. And so I won't bore you guys too much more. Jason, maybe if I scream with these guys, talk over them the whole fucking time, maybe that will do more. Saunders style caller.
That's right.
Yeah, well, I don't like the whole screaming bit.
Everybody say keep going, Dale, because they know what's coming.
Oh God.
We gotta keep it. He keeps it interesting, right? What the hell? But I guess that's that. And then with Selden, you guys touch on that mismatch. I did hear one instruction though, and that was he said his corner. He said, "All right, enough with the cross arm. Go to the traditional high guard." So he didn't say that at one point. The corner. That was it. That's all I heard.
Cletus was hung out to dry, man. Bad style.
Oh my God.
He just hung out to dry.
Yeah, exactly.
This chat is amazing.
Probably got more stuff. That was the one piece. There you go.
So how was your weekend, Jason? Dale?
Oh, nice.
God.
All right, Dale, we're gonna go ahead and get moving, man.
All right, see you.
That's hilarious.
All right, man.
Let's roll.
No, Beeb, I do agree with your point about he had 21 fights. It was time to step him up, but that was bad. That was bad matchmaking on their part.
And then the guy that he fought, his opponent was bad matchmaking on his. So I mean, someone's got to lose, Robbie. That's the way I look at it. Someone's got to lose.
Yep.
And now the moment you've been waiting all week for. In fact, you've been waiting over a week because we weren't here on Sunday. .706, you're live.
Dude, you guys just got $10 because of me. This is thanks, I guess. Come on.
We'll make you a royal entrance if we get $10 every time you come on.
Did you see what that super chat said?
I missed it.
What do you mean you missed it? Go back and read it.
Go back and read it now. Go back and read it now, Eric.
Yeah. I'm not doing anything right now. Why not? You know.
Stop hosting the show. Stop hosting the show, Eric. And moderate the show.
$10 symbol.
Very cool. Look at that, $10.
All right.
Thank you, Igloo.
All right. Let me go ahead before I forget what hand wraps that idiot said. This guy, Robbie De La Hoya, are bashing Mikey for fighting a 140 champion when fucking Lomachenko just fought a fucking 126-pound midget who was coming off a loss, whose name was Mariaga, who lost to fucking Oscar Valdez. And after that, he fought Jason fucking Sosa. And then he fought a 122-pounder. All right? So Mikey moved up and fought Adrian Broner, and now he's fighting an undefeated 140 champion. And that's a bad thing? Is that fans are supposed to be mad about that?
That's a great thing, Jason. That's a great thing, Jason. I'm with you on this one.
He's moving up in weight. I'm not a biggest fan of the fight.
No. This is for Robbie Kim. Robbie Kim. Why are we supposed to hate him?
I think Mike had better fights with Lennard and had better fights with.
Oh my God.
Why go up and pick on a champion that just won his title?
Why bring Mariaga up from 126 pound after a fucking loss?
I have no idea, Jason. I have no idea.
Yeah, but you were talking shit about Lomachenko like you are about Mikey. I can guarantee you that.
Well,
you would never dare talk shit about him like that.
Making demands and bailing out of fights either.
What fight? What did he bail out of? Out of a long-term contract for a snake company in a slave contract? You want him to sign that to fight fucking Cota? Why would he do that when he's getting paid $1 million a fight anyway?
Yeah, well, just because he's gonna win this fight doesn't mean he should be able to keep both of his titles. I think WBC should strip him.
You just switched the whole topic. I said, why is it bad for an undefeated champion? And it's not bad for Lomachenko to bring a 126-pound loser up from there and fight him.
Jason,
and then fight
I have no idea why they did that. I can't talk about something I don't know the reasons
why aren't you bashing him like you bash Mikey? Why aren't you bashing him like you bash Mikey? Go ahead.
Because Mikey makes a complete idiot out of himself every time he gives an interview.
What, dude? He just beat a 4-division champion. Now he's moving up to fight an undefeated champion. And
yeah,
did you hear what
he wants to have the same thing on his resume. You know what? He'll get that, but what does that prove?
And he said the WBC said he has to fight Lennard's next. That's why he's keeping his belt. He's not just letting it go. So he said, "I'll move down."
And I know he'll find a way to bail out of that.
Why would he find a way to bail out of it? You don't think he can beat Lennard? That's the easy fight for Mikey, I think.
No, I think Mikey Garcia can beat pretty much anybody that he fights. But the problem is, I don't know if the two sides are ever going to be able to sit down and negotiate a proper fight. You got to look at the boxing.
And
you got to look at the boxing politics, man.
Listen. One of the journalists said today, Linares this is his last fight with Golden Boy. So whoever this next bum he's fighting, since you're fucking so butthurt about Mikey's resume, you never talk about Linares and all the Euro bums he fights. Who are the last 3 fucking fights Linares fought, actually? Yeah, who is that? Tell me, Robbie, right now. Who are the last fucking 3 fights of Linares since you're so butthurt about Mikey's fights? Tell me now.
Look, you don't hear Jorge Linares in the newspaper complaining about
Don't fucking change the subject. You change the subject every time when I expose you for hating on Mikey. Tell me what are Linares' last 3 fights. Is he fighting these legends? Because I haven't heard of anybody who he's fighting.
Jason, I'm not here to argue with you.
Who the fuck is Linares been fighting? Tell me. Since you're being such a critic about Mikey's resume, why aren't you telling me who's Linares fighting? What great things he's doing in boxing? Which legends has he beaten?
Like I said, Jason, I'm not here to argue with you.
Because you can't. If you could, you would, right? Because you love to. Yes,
see, that's what I hate about your phone call. Every week you call this show and you want to argue with people instead of talking
about facts, and you can't expose my facts. So you're going to the snowflake mode. Oh my God, I don't like
this. Snowflake mode. He lives in California. There's no snow in California.
Luke Campbell. Who the fuck is Luke Campbell? Somebody in the chat said Luke Campbell. Who is that bum?
Hey, Luke Campbell put up a competitive fight that night.
Is Luke Campbell better than Brunner?
No.
It's hard to say because Campbell
Brunner from Cincinnati
is still learning. I mean, he's still in.
Okay, Robbie. All right, so Luke Campbell is one. Who else did Linares fight? Let's just have a conversation if you don't want to argue. Who else has Linares beaten recently? He's been fighting what? Anthony Corolla? Is Anthony Corolla better than Lipinets and Broner? And Dejan
Anthony Corolla gave 2 very good fights. What's wrong with those?
Who is he? Who has he beaten? What has he done? What has he done to earn those fights with Linares? And since you're so butthurt about Mikey's trophy fights, why aren't you so butthurt about Linares' trophy fights? That's my point.
The reason why I'm picking on Mikey is because every time he opens his mouth, he complains about fights that he wants, and then if he gets offered something, he doesn't take it, and then he settles for a guy that just won a title, and they're idiots enough to put it in San Antonio, Texas, in one of the biggest stadiums possible.
What does that have to do with the fight? What does that have to do with the fight?
Hey, let me jump in. Can I jump in here real quick? Hang tight. Let me jump in.
What does that have to do with the fight?
So, let me ask you
this. Now you guys are going to bash the arena and the choice of the state? Really?
No, let me ask you this. Yeah, well, I didn't know. I don't know, like, if San Antonio, as far as the venue goes, because it's a pretty big venue. I don't know if can he sell it out or not necessarily sell it out? But I don't know.
Just 2 months ago, I remember the boxing world criticizing PBC for not having fights in Texas. Now they're trying to do something, maybe because that's the only arena they can find that happens sometimes. And now you want to criticize them for that? What the fuck is that? Why do you guys care where the fight is? Who gives a shit?
It's just a big venue for that type of fight. That's all I'm saying.
Who cares? They're not going to open the whole venue. You know the venues sometimes block off most of the venue and give like a smaller volume.
No, I mean, they're going to have to block off. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they will block off the majority of that venue. But my question to you is this.
Is there a fight? Or about half of the arena was blacked off. It was closed. They couldn't even sell those tickets in England. So it happens.
Is there a fighter?
It happens, okay?
Is there a fighter that you would rather see Mikey Garcia fight than Sergey Lipinets? I think that's all we're saying.
I didn't say I would rather, but I don't.
Well, let me ask you.
Who is Linares fighting, though? Who is Linares fighting since Mikey is
fighting? I don't want to see that fight either. Listen, I don't want to see that fight either. But who would you rather see if you had your druthers? Mikey Garcia fight rather than Sergey Lipinets?
Mikey was off for 2 years. He came back and beat Dejan and Broner. And now, if he couldn't get a fight, he's moving up and fighting undefeated. People were so bad about that. And didn't
that's not what I'm asking. No, you're missing
Steven Espinoza said Lipinets, his last 5 or 6 opponents' record was like 140 and 15. So Lipinets is not some fucking joke.
No, nobody's saying he is. But what I'm saying is, when you woke up and you read the news that Mikey Garcia is going to fight Sergey Lipinets, did you in the back of your head say, wow, I can't wait to see that fight? Or did you think, wow, I wish Mikey Garcia would have fought instead? Or if you could just play matchmaker.
I always say I can't wait to watch that fight with only a few fights every year anyway. I'm not going to be mad and talk shit about Mikey Garcia like Robbie is. Robbie was like talking shit like he's fighting Mariaga coming off like the loss. That's like he was talking like Mikey's fighting some 126 pounder.
If you could put anybody in front of Mikey Garcia.
If Robbie is this pissed at Mikey fighting an undefeated 140 champ, I wonder how pissed off he'll be if Mikey's fighting Mariaga. I want to know that.
If you could see Mikey Garcia fight anybody, you could put anybody in front of Mikey Garcia, who would you see him fight?
Eric, that is such a retarded point. Of course we want him to fight Linares or Loma, but if it's not happening, what the fuck is wrong with him fighting an undefeated 140 champ?
Well, why
I think because he didn't take the fights.
Because because obviously Robert Easter and Heyman don't want to make that fight because Mikey just fucking destroyed Broner. You don't think he's going to do the same to Easter, and you think Heyman wants to let two of his fucking big stars that sell tickets to lose back to back? No, obviously not.
What's wrong with the title unification bout, Jason?
Robbie, Heyman or Robert Easter obviously didn't want that fight. It's the common sense. Just use your brain.
I'll tell you who I want to see Mikey Garcia fight.
You support
Terry Flanagan from the UK, Daddy.
The career of the boxers involved.
Well, doesn't he want to fight?
You mean like Golden Boy in Top Rank? You mean like Golden Boy in Top Rank? Like Jojo Diaz is not fighting Gary Russell? Like Lomachenko is not fighting Mikey Garcia? Like Manny didn't fight Mayweather for 6 years because Bob Arum was being a fucking cockblock? What do you mean? You think Heyman is the only one? You're a real fucking you act like a real. You have this personal animus towards Heyman, and you act like he's the only one doing these things. That's fucking ridiculous.
No, you weren't listening to the show earlier. I said it happens on all sides.
Yeah, and so what you're saying, how am I going to support PBC? I support good fights. How am I not going to support Spence and Peterson fighting? That's a great fight. That's a way better fight than fucking Loma and Rigo and Loma and Mariaga. For damn sure.
Big $3.5 million payday. How can you pass that up if you're Errol?
That's a way better fight than Cotto versus fucking Saddam Ali or Cotto versus Kamagai. And I just named you all these fucking other promoters that you worship. And you want me to bash PBC because they're giving me Charlo versus Williams, Charlo versus what's his name? Charlo versus Lubin, Trout versus Hurd, Spence versus Peterson, Danny versus Thurman. I'm supposed to hate PBC for that?
So let me ask you a question.
Are you fucking joking?
So you're obviously a big...
No, don't ask me a question. No,
Garcia
don't ask me
fan.
a question. Why am I supposed to hate PBC for that? Can you tell me that?
That wasn't the question. But I can tell
Don't ask me questions. Just answer this. Let me ask some questions too.
He doesn't want to answer questions.
Fucking fights.
He doesn't want to... Objection, Your Honor. Badgering the witness. He doesn't want to answer questions.
Where does he go after he beats Sergey Lipinets?
Let me talk to Beeb real quick because Eric and Robbie are being little fucking punks. Beeb, am I supposed to hate PBC for all these amazing fights? What's up with that? Am I living in some fucking Twilight world? What's going on here? All these fights PBC. Why am I supposed to hate him for that?
They listened to our argument a couple weeks ago, and guess what they're doing now? Now they got a nice schedule coming up. This is why we have to argue like this. Because when we argue on air, they listen to us and we get better fights. I got Teddy Atlas fired.
He did.
Okay, because they listened to the show. So now I started complaining about PBC, and guess what's happening? On the horizon, because they listen to the Beeb. They listen to the Beeb.
But Beeb,
you forgot one thing. Boxing, the last 3 months of boxing are always weak. Then they start strong in the beginning of the year. Like PBC started strong in 2016. PBC's been on a roll in 2015 and since 2015 December. They've been on a roll. The last few months have been slow.
I just get impatient.
Better.
I think you
Thurman is coming back.
You know I get impatient. I have to have all the great fights all year round. You know that.
For these fights.
You know that.
Ramirez, fucking Beltran. What the fuck? Who cares about that?
I'm sure those two fighters, but I think you need to thank us for these fights.
Because
if we're not arguing about this and having them up their game,
week. El Bialy versus Pascal was the fight of the week, and Molina versus fucking Red Cash. More action on those fights than the whole fucking cards on ESPN and HBO. Those fucking cards were trash on ESPN and HBO.
Well, that's not very nice.
Michael Conlon and fucking Shakur Stevenson were fighting cab drivers. Why are we supposed to be excited about that? That should be on BNTV or some Mexican channel, not on ESPN.
The one guy was a gardener, not a cab driver. All right, so
yeah, but see, those PBC gave us better fights both weeks on fucking Fox
and
Sports.
Remember, Robert Guerrero did lose to a Mexican cab driver.
Yeah, sure
no, Argentinian. He was Argentinian.
Yeah, it's a cab driver nonetheless.
And actually, Robbie, your hero Homochenko lost to a Uber driver. Salido's Uber driver. You know that, right?
Yeah, I did know that. That is the.
Yep. Okay. He's an Uber driver,
and he'll be doing that full time now. Thank God.
Why? Why would he be doing that full time? He's still fighting.
I hope not.
Why not? He already beat Homochenko. He's going to get a rematch and get another payday. Why not?
What are you calling him?
That fight ain't happening,
Did
folks.
you say Homochenko?
So
what's the matter with you?
that's one asterisk next to Homochenko. I lost to an Uber driver. That's great. That's amazing. Props to Salido.
This is like an early Christmas.
What did you guys think of Vargas' performance against Aaron Herrera? Did you guys like that?
He did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, no.
Aaron Herrera, I thought he was going to beat Brandon Rios before he got dropped or whatever. I thought Brandon Rios was going to lose to that guy.
Yeah, well, Brandon Rios, we'll never see him again after Danny Garcia gets through with him.
Yeah, that's a bang-up fight.
I wonder how much he's getting paid for that.
Who cares? Ever again.
I wonder how much he's getting paid for that.
Nah, Brandon Rios will probably get another fight with Josecito Lopez or something. As a thank you, President. Go away,
and
President.
of course, is this going to be Danny's one fight of the year?
PBC,
Brandon Rios? Because he only fought once last year.
Danny fought twice last year. Stop lying. See, that's why I don't like that. You always
he only fought Keith Thurman.
No, he fought twice last year. Stop lying, Robbie, please. Just check the box. It's not that hard, okay? It's not that hard. He fought twice last year.
He only fought Keith Thurman. Who else did he fight?
Hey, and Robbie, how long has Mikey been back with Heyman? Can you tell me that? How long has he been back? Do you remember?
Well, this will be his third fight with Al.
No, this will be his fourth fight with Al.
Yeah, he's only fought once in 2017.
See, you keep fucking lying, and he's only fought. You don't have your facts straight, and then you bash Heyman and tell me.
Well, don't bash me. It's BoxRec.
You don't have your facts straight, and then you lie.
BoxRec, not me. It's BoxRec has him only listed once in 2017.
This will be his fourth fight in less than a year and a half. And he was sitting on Top Rank shelf for 2 years, just like Vargas was sitting on the Top Rank shelf for a year.
What do you have to say that
the bad guy?
Danny Garcia only fought once last year?
And then Robbie wants to worship. What his first defense was.
Somehow that just got glossed over.
Jojo Dan and Errol Spence's first defense is Peterson. Now, what is that? That just shows you the level of boxing in America and England. That Kell Brook is fighting Jojo Dan and Spence is fighting Peterson as his first defense. That's the real champion right there.
Kell Brook's got to have a comeback
fake
fight.
Paper champion like fucking Brook. Jojo Dan, Frankie Gavin, Kevin Bizier. But Eddie Hearn is a freaking amazing guy. Yeah. Thanks for giving us those pay-per-views, Eddie.
Told you Eddie Hearn was a wank.
Hey, you didn't have to pay for him.
That's what you call brainwashed, retarded public at its finest. Eddie Hearn is giving you 3 pay-per-views with fucking bums on Sky pay-per-view. And Peter and Thurman, and I remember people were bashing Spence for fighting Peterson. They were like, "Oh, it's okay, he'll knock him out." I was like, "Okay, it's not that easy of a fight," and people were bashing that too. I was kind of fucked it up. And Broner is also going to fight Omar Figueroa. Joel Diaz said that on Fight Up Live.
Yeah. Yep. Broner's going to crush him.
They said Mikey didn't want the Omar fight. I'm guessing because Omar doesn't really have a title, and it's probably an easier fight to fight Lipinets.
Yeah, it's definitely an easier fight.
But Omar hasn't impressed me with anything. He fights like a fucking retard to me. He fights just like the young Chavez Jr. He fucking shoves his head in the guy's chest, has no defense, like a crash dummy, just throwing looping punches.
That's why Bronner's going to whitewash him, son. Bronner all day.
Broner better, or
yeah, Adrian Broner should win that fight. If he's got anything left, he should win that fight.
He's the one fighter that they do keep very active. He gets a lot of fights.
Hey, Idletown, baby. Of course, you want to see him.
Who gets a lot of fights?
Broner.
They keep him. active.
Yeah, because he gets Showtime that 1 million mark. You know, he always gets 900K or 800K always.
We got the viewers, baby.
He's very polarizing.
The event is Spike TV's highest rated fight.
Yep.
Combat fight.
That's it.
And Wilder is doing a reality show with his girlfriend. She's going to be on some house life thing of Atlanta. He's going to make a cameo.
Oh, for real?
Good for him.
Housewives of Atlanta?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, his girlfriend's a singer. She's going to do that, so he's going to make a cameo, I guess.
Look at that. That's the stuff he needs.
Handraps is crying about Al Heyman. I guess Al Heyman's fucking Handraps' mom or something. He's fucking crying in the comments as usual.
Oh, you can't say that.
Al Heyman's giving us the best fights in boxing, but Handraps is mad at Al Heyman. I don't know what's going on here. Sounds like a personal beef. Al Heyman must be playing stepdaddy to Handraps. That's what's going on.
Wow. So ruthless on his calls.
And thanks to Igloo. Igloo's the man. Igloo's the MVP. Thanks to him.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're not going back after your surgery, are you, Eric Thurman?
What's
You're
that?
Back good now?
No, I'm one and done. I'm out. So yeah, that's it for me.
And at least Eric's not taking a full year off. He's back in the game, man.
Igloo said Broner only fought once in 2016. Is that true?
Yep.
Yeah, wasn't he in jail and shit? That's
He's got jail. He's got.
Well, that's why he owns the train wrecking world title, man.
he's probably on bail again for that Vegas thing. He's probably on bail again.
Yep.
And Gervonta Davis, do you guys think he's going to go to Japan and fight that Japanese guy? Because Japan, they love boxing is big over there.
Bronner fought twice in 2017. He fought Garcia and Granados.
Yeah, he said 2016. He only fought Theo Pan in 16.
Oh yeah, he only fought once in 2016.
Only once in 16. Yeah.
He fought 3 times in 2015. Yeah, even Thurman fought 2 or 3 times, and I think Thurman only fought once, like this past year. He's always fought twice, also. So Robbie always exaggerates that shit, also. Oh, Thurman only fights once, but he's only fought just once in his career. In 1 year of his career, he fought once. So Robbie, before you always say that Thurman only fights once, you should take that into account also. This is the only year that he's fought once.
No, he fought once in 2016.
No, but you guys always say that Thurman never fights.
He doesn't.
But this is the only. But listen to me. This is the only year in his career he's only fought once.
Well, you're wrong.
So
you're wrong.
It's not a joke. It's fucking serious.
You're wrong. He fought twice in 2014, twice in 2015, once in 2016, and once in 2017.
Okay, all right. So, but he was supposed to fight again, but he got married and he got a surgery. So, what is Heyman supposed to do? Oh, do you guys listen? Do you guys remember that kid, Precise Presenter that used to have a channel on YouTube?
Who?
Precise Presenter.
No, Beeb, do you remember him?
I guess he's got a new channel on Precise Puncher. So listen to this new conspiracy theory about Al Heyman. You guys remember that guy Charles Martin fought to get his belt? Some fucking Russian guy that popped his knee in the middle of the fight or something?
Yeah. Who was that guy?
So now this is his theory. He said Al Heyman is a gangster that is breaking fighters' kneecaps. He said that guy Al Heyman got his knee broken by it. Then he said,
didn't Charles Martin fight Malik Scott for that title?
No, some Russian dude.
No, some Russian guy.
Dude.
Who
was his name?
Main events guy.
Glaskov.
Yeah,
that's who it was. Yeah.
Then Charlo fought Highland. He had a messed up knee. And then, so he said it's a pattern. Al Heyman is making these fighters' knees before the fight and getting them big paydays.
Yeah, Tonya. He's got Tonya Harding on the payroll.
Tonya Harding never busted anybody. It was Galuli. It was her boyfriend.
Same thing.
Beeb, let me ask you a question. Beeb,
be happy to answer.
What do you think would happen? How big of a period do you think Dan Rafael would have if Mikey Garcia fought Mariaga coming off a loss and brought him up and wait?
He would write like 16 negative articles, one after the other, for the rest of the week.
And Robbie De La Hoya would be the co-writer, right?
No.
Oh, I can't. I don't want to incriminate my co-host Robbie here, please.
So he can fight Mariaga from 126 coming off a loss. Then he can fight old ass 37-year-old Rigo coming from 122 after fighting DQing a bum on Rock Nation card. And he's a Tampazon king. And Mikey comes back after sitting on his ass for 2.5 years. Beats Dejan for his belt. He's undefeated champ. Then he moves up to 140. Beats Broner. Then he moves up to 140 again and fights Lipanets, undefeated champ. But he's a cherry picker. But Loma, he's a fucking legend for fighting Mariaga and Jason Sosa and Rigo. That's fucking amazing. That is some I don't know what to call it. That's some like what was that cult leader that got everybody to kill themselves by eating that poison? What was his name?
Oh shit! I mean,
in
Gainesville.
Jim, yeah, that's some Jim Jones type mind washing shit from the boxing media right there. To me, that's what that is.
Wow, that's a strong comparison. Why you have to compare it to something so strong like that?
Wow.
It's Christmas time. Come on.
So brainwashed by that. He can lose to Salido. He can lose to Mikey's leftovers and fight fucking 126 and 122 pound midgets and become the pound for pound kings. And Mayweather had to move up over and over to become that. And Ward had to move up and weight to be Kovalev to even get mentioned in the top. So, you know, I see what's going on here. It's pretty obvious, but Robbie thinks it's just PBC's fault. I don't know.
Eric's boy.
Very strange times. I guess Trump is president. Trump is president, so we should expect this kind of retardedness.
Good point. All right, Jason. We're gonna get moving, my man.
Somebody said Dejan was a paper champ. Hasn't Manny fought paper champs like Chris Algieri after he fucking lost to Ruslan Provodnikov, according to Max Kellerman? Wasn't he a paper champ? Would that be considered a paper champ, Beeb?
There's an argument for it. Yeah, people did not really think that Algieri was a outstanding champion. I mean, I think he was a good fighter, but definitely had some limitations.
I think he was very limited. Yeah.
Hasn't Manny fought some other paper champions also kind of like weight catch weights?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can rip Manny Pacquiao's resume apart. I mean, you can point out a lot of good fights, but you can also point out a lot of fights that weren't so good.
What about Oscar De La Hoya, B? What was Oscar De La Hoya's best win besides fucking Vargas to you? Because I was looking at his resume, and to me, he lost all his best fights. And I don't know why he's always heralded as his boxing god when he never beat all the best fighters. He lost to Hopkins, he lost to Whitaker, he lost to Whitaker, he lost to Floyd, he lost to Manny.
Well, Pernell Whitaker could be thought of as probably his best victory.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, he lost
to Whitaker. Let's just count that as a loss. Because we know he lost.
Yeah. I thought he beat Shane Mosley in the rematch. I thought that was a bad decision. The Ike Corte fight was really close. That could have gone either way. But I mean, he has lost a lot of big fights. There's no question about it.
And if Mayweather had lost all these big fights, what would we say about Mayweather if he had lost all these big fights?
Well, he didn't lose these big fights, and they're still criticizing him. So I guess if he lost them, he would get criticized even more.
Mayweather won all 12 rounds against Canelo, and they gave him a fucking split decision.
Majority decision.
That was because
on a golden girl card. And Robbie probably didn't give a shit about that because it's Oscar.
No,
it's all good.
There was a judge there that ended up losing her license because of that fight.
Yeah, but Oscar, the promoter, hired her for a reason. Let's not forget that.
No, it's actually the state. Doesn't the state handle that?
No, the state gives you names, and the promoter picks the best ones he wants, and then that's what happens. And Oscar and Canelo both got that split decision, so that was a fucking blueprint. That's a pattern right there. And none of them won that fight. Both of them lost clearly. There was no question about Oscar winning or Canelo winning.
What about Mayweather Castillo? Who did you have winning that one?
The first one.
What happened after that fight? The first one, immediate rematch, right? Unlike Canelo versus Lara.
Who did you have? Who did you have winning?
Who did you have winning the first Floyd Mayweather?
I didn't score that. I wasn't into boxing back then.
I didn't score it.
Code word for my guy lost
90.
Oh, I didn't score it.
Unlike Canelo.
Oh, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. He lost. If you're gonna give,
I know you're saying, but I'm asking you.
If you're gonna say that Oscar lost that fight,
give immediate rematches.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Lara and GGG have yet to get their rematches from Canelo.
So what?
Yeah, but GGG will get his rematch.
So what?
Yeah.
What do you mean so what?
Triple G will get his rematch.
60 seconds.
Because he had to wait. When was that fight? I don't even remember when Canelo and GGG fought. When was that?
That was in September. That was only 3 months ago.
All right, yeah, because it was such a freaking uneventful fight. I forgot already.
An uneventful fight. It was a draw, man. Although I don't think it was a draw, but it was a draw.
I enjoyed the May versus Mac even more.
It was a good fight. It was a good fight. All right, Jason, we got to get moving.
Merry Christmas, Jason.
Happy
Have
holidays.
a great holiday. Have a great holiday, Jason.
Yep.
I'm going to get you a season tickets to PBC events.
Good God Almighty!
Every
no, I swear. I think he
I'm going to get a Mikey Garcia's autograph.
I think
get your autograph
calls the show, guys, just to argue. And I hate that.
He just wrote in the chat. IP Robbie.
I'm sorry you had to endure that, Robbie, especially during the holiday season.
Somebody in the chat while the whole thing was going on said, "Robbie, please take a knee."
No,
Robbie held his own. Robbie held his own. He did good.
I don't have everybody's
Robbie had some good counter
and I'm
punches.
not going to defend some. I'm not going to defend some of Lomachenko's or other people's choices, but the reason why I'm picking on Mikey, and you guys can agree because you've seen the interviews or read about them, Mikey complains all the time about, well, I want to fight this person, I don't want to fight that person, and then when he gets offered something, oh no, I can't do that.
There it is. All right, let's go back to the phones here. 312-312, you're live.
Good evening, Fight Doctor. How are you?
Fight Doctor in the house.
Fight Doctor, what's happening?
Status, as always. What's going on, gentlemen?
How are you?
What's happening? How you doing, man?
We're doing good.
Business as usual. Business as usual. Yeah, I want to make a few comments about the fight this weekend and about some of the things the previous caller said. That previous caller's name is Jason, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, shout out to Jason for keeping it real. Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders beating David Lemieux. Been there, done that. I mean, it's not something that hasn't been done before, okay? David Lemieux had already lost 3 times prior to the fight this weekend. You know, he got the loss to Golovkin, and which actually was a competitive fight. You may not have scored it. It may not have been scored that way, but certainly early in the fight, Golovkin was tentative and was weary of Lemieux's punch.
No, it was a good competitive fight. I had no problem with that fight at all.
Yeah, well, apparently there's some people out there who think that, you know, Golovkin, Lemieux was one-sided when that's not the case.
No. If anybody watched that fight intelligently, it was not one-sided.
What round did you give Lemieux, Robert?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't one-sided.
What round did you guys give Lemieux? What round? What round did you guys give Lemieux in that fight? It was completely
Eric,
one-sided.
I don't remember my scorecard.
Son, it was completely one-sided. It was a one-sided fight. He got bashed with the jab from one round to the next, and it was KO'd in the middle rounds. What was competitive about it? Wasn't competitive at all.
Wait. It
wasn't competitive at all.
It was knocked out in, I think, the 8th or 9th round.
Right, middle rounds.
And up until this point, Golovkin had been destroying everyone, okay? He's been knocking over all of the tomato cans they've been put in front of him.
And he knocked over
Then they put David Lemieux in front of him. And wait, hold on. He turns from this come-forward, face-first brawler into this intelligent boxer all of a sudden.
So what?
Okay, he made this transformation.
And that made it a good competitive fight?
So what I'm saying is, okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
It wasn't.
All of a sudden, he metamorphed from being the destroyer that he had been, the come-forward destroyer, take 2 to give 1 destroyer that he had previously been, to this intelligent, work behind the jab boxer.
No.
For David Lemieux.
Eric, I understand where he's going with this because remember, before he fought Willie Monroe, remember you had questions on whether he could deal with a pure boxer.
Right.
And you found out during the Willie Monroe fight that he could. So I understand where Fight Doctor's coming from as far as David Lemieux's concerned.
I thought after that fight that David Lemieux could be outboxed pretty clearly. I mean, he could be outboxed pretty clearly. And then talking about the Billy Joe Saunders fight, you know, like I said, that fight especially with Golovkin, and Golovkin to me is a solid boxer, but I think Billy Joe Saunders has got more tools. You know what I mean? And so I thought going into that fight, I thought the Triple G Lemieux fight was completely one-sided. I thought Triple G, if you want to give shine to anybody in that fight, I would give it to Triple G because he showed a different layer of what he can do. Because we're used to him, like Fight Doctor says, going in and destroying
Eric,
people.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
I have a question for you. What the hell fight were you watching?
Which one?
Because that was not a one-sided affair. Okay?
Then what round did we give him? If we go back and watch that fight again, you cannot give Lemieux a round. You can't. And if you can't give the guy a round, then it's a one-sided fight, right?
No, not necessarily. I mean, listen, I have to go back and score the fight, okay? Now, I have to go back and score the fight. Now, if you want to score the fight wide for Golovkin, that's fine. However, a fight can be scored wide, but the guy who's winning the rounds can win the rounds close.
I would go along with that. I go along with that.
Sometimes the score doesn't actually tell the whole story of the fight. Okay, but guys winning the rounds, the guy wins 7, 8 rounds, but he wins those rounds razor close. Is it a close fight or is the fight wide?
Did you guys think that was a razor close fight?
The scorecard is wide, but it's still a competitive fight if the guy is winning those rounds, but he's only winning them by the skin of his teeth.
I didn't think the rounds were that close.
Essentially, the Golovkin-Lemieux fight.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I didn't think the rounds were that close.
At least as I recall it.
Yeah.
All 3 judges scored at 70-62 at the time of the stoppage, so they did give Lemieux 1 round. He did win 1 round on their cards.
Yeah.
But some of those rounds,
I understand where Fight Doctor is coming from. You know, because in that fight, Gennady was able to show, okay, David Lemieux is a big puncher, so I need to fight a different way. Just like in the Willie Monroe fight, he showed everybody that he could deal with a pure boxer.
But my overall point, the point that I'm really trying to make is that outboxing David Lemieux, well, that's not something extraordinary because it had been done before. Golovkin did it, and then the 2 journeymen prior to, I forget their names, had already done it. So really, I think this tells us nothing. The Billy Joe Saunders outboxing David Lemieux. He was supposed to outbox David Lemieux. It'd been done before. Okay, he had the blueprint, as Floyd Mayweather likes to put it. Okay, so he did nothing extraordinary. Now let's see him step up and fight Daniel Jacobs.
Well, that's the fight I want to see.
We're hoping for, yeah.
Okay, let's see him replicate that performance against one of those guys.
Yep.
And then I'll be convinced. Okay.
Now, either one of those fights would be fine with me, you know?
Now, having said that, Jason actually has made some excellent points concerning the PBC, okay, and concerning Lomachenko's quote-unquote pound-for-pound ranking, okay, which is totally bogus. And I don't think any objective observer of the sport, could make a legitimate, valid case for Lomachenko being pound-for-pound #1. That's fraudulent. It's dishonest. Okay, it is just wrong, with every letter in the word wrong capitalized. That is just what the hell? I mean, listen, I've known Dan Raphael since before he had the ESPN gig, when he used to post on Usenet, okay, way back in the day. We're talking about 20 years ago. All right, that's when I first knew of Dan Raphael. Okay, 20 years ago when he used to post on Usenet, he didn't know shit about boxing. And guess what? 20 years later, nothing has changed. The man knows nothing about boxing. He knows a lot more about donuts than he will ever know about boxing. Trust and believe, okay? Because his pound-for-pound list, I like ESPN, putting Lomachenko at pound-for-pound #1 is obviously political.
In all fairness,
they don't love the sport of boxing. Okay.
In all fairness, though, he doesn't put together those lists. There's it's like a committee that puts together that list. He's on the committee, of course, but there's like 4 or 5 guys that actually put in on that list. But I see where you're going. I mean, having Lomachenko.
No, but his list does get publicized.
Well, him and who he sends out for donuts, they both endorse the list. Okay.
I believe that Teddy Atlas is part of that scenario.
Well, he has to be.
And Teddy Atlas is just as bad. He doesn't know shit about boxing. He's been getting hit too many
everybody
times.
piling on Teddy Atlas.
Crazy ass. Okay. Okay. Pound for pound, listen, bullshit. But enough of that. All right. So PBC. All right. You guys giving shade to PBC. Listen. What are the free fights that they've given us? Wasn't Garcia Thurman? Wasn't that on CBS?
Yes, it was.
And didn't we also get Aguero Berto? Wasn't that on CBS also? But we've got some good competitive fights from the PBC on CBS. And the one that stands out in my mind is Thurman Garcia. Now, honestly, really, Thurman Garcia could have been a pay-per-view fight. Okay? To be completely honest.
I think it could have been.
PBC gave us, okay, but we got it on free TV. What else do we get? We get Earl Spence and Kell Brook. We got that on Showtime, didn't we?
That's right.
That was a pay-per-view worthy fight. Okay, honestly, I think it was pay-per-view in the UK, wasn't it?
Yes.
We got it on Showtime. Now it's not free TV, but it's free enough. Okay, because I mean most of us have Showtime. If you're a boxing fan, you have Showtime. It's a no-brainer. If you're a boxing fan, you have Showtime. No-brainer. Okay. So when is the last time Golden Girl Promotions or Lonesome Bob Arum and Top Stank? When is the last time they've given us a good competitive fight on free TV or on HBO or ESPN? I mean,
last Saturday with Lomachenko Rigondeaux. Yeah, Lomachenko Rigondeaux. And you can't say, I don't want to hear you say, well, that wasn't a competitive fight. No, it wasn't a competitive fight. But on paper, everybody thought it would be a competitive fight.
Okay, listen. I thought it was going to be a competitive fight.
Right.
But at the end of the day, Top Stank gave us a fight between the quote-unquote pound-for-pound number one guy and a guy, 37 years old, coming up not one but two weight classes. Okay? That's what
I can't argue that because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So, listen, Jason makes an excellent point, okay? Say what you will about Al Heyman. Say what you will about...
He makes excellent points, but he goes about it the wrong way. He doesn't have to yell, scream, argue. You know, he should do it the way you're doing it because we're not yelling at you. You're making good points.
Well, I agree. But at the end of the day, PBC, look, say what you will about Al Heyman. Say what you will about these guys being inactive, and that's a problem. And I would agree there. Okay? However,
that is one of my biggest criticisms of that organization. They don't keep their fighters active.
Yeah. Okay. And look, boxing, let's be honest, okay? Boxing is a dirty business, all right? It's, for years and years, it was run by the mob, and I'm still convinced that it is, all right?
I don't think they've ever left.
But naturally, okay, because there's still shady decisions, shady judging, okay? Jason brought up a couple of excellent examples of some shady judging in the Mayweather De La Hoya fight and in the Mayweather Canelo fight.
What about the Mayweather Castillo fight?
I don't know how the hell you get. I thought Mayweather lost the first one by a point.
Yeah, I did too.
I'll be honest. That was a close fight. Good fight, but I thought Castillo did just enough to win.
Yeah,
now, do I think it was a robbery? No, I don't think it was a robbery. I thought, me personally, I thought Castillo won by a point because when they read the scorecards, I just knew Mayweather lost the fight, okay? Now, having gone back and watched it the second time, it was a close fight, Okay. Am I mad that Mayweather got the decision? No. Do I think it could have gone the other way? Yes. But they rematched it. And they rematched it and the question was answered, who the better fighter is. So we know who the better fighter is. All right, but yeah, sometimes you get close fights where the guy who you think won doesn't get the decision. Okay? That's the sport of boxing. That happens. Okay? Mayweather just that night, in that particular instance, he won the beauty contest. Okay? It is what it is. Now, I don't think that was an example of shady judging. I think that was just an example of certain judges liking certain things. Okay? And the guy who the judges were endeared to him that night. Okay? With being Mayweather. All right? Now, on the same note, giving Canelo the decision in the Mayweather fight, what the hell fight were you watching? That's fucking crazy. All right? Getting a split decision in the De La Hoya Mayweather fight for De La Hoya, what the hell fight were you watching? Okay? Mayweather won that fight 9-3, 8-4. Easy. De La Hoya was competitive for the first 6. After that, it was all Mayweather. Okay? And that's where, look, that's where I think the mob is still running boxing because some of these decisions, where the hell do they come from? All right? The Canelo Alvarez Golovkin fight, 118, 110. Really? What the hell? This is in Vegas? Yeah. There was some home cooking going on in right there, okay? And I happen to like Alvarez as a fighter, I do. However, I call it right down the middle. And that scorecard, bullshit, okay? Yeah, look, that was De La Hoya probably got the goods on one of his coked up cross-dressing friends who somehow related to one of the judges, and somehow there was some voodoo work there, okay? Definitely. That was suspect. That was like the top 10 most wanted suspect. Trust. That decision, okay? Somebody should go to jail over that type of shit. But boxing, okay? You get criminal acts happen every day. Nobody seems to go to jail. Other sports, people get at least suspended or fired, or somebody loses their job or get a fine. Something happens. When this type of shit, football players, sometimes they go to jail. Sometimes they get suspended for 6 games. They get fined. Boxing, you have overt, dirty shit happen on a regular basis. Nothing seems to happen to nobody. No fines, no jail time. Nobody loses their fucking job. I mean, what the hell is really going on here? Okay? What the hell is really going on? But whatever. I digress. Oh, and one other thing. Yeah, Oscar De La Hoya, overrated. His best win outside of Vargas is either the Whitaker win or either Pernell Whitaker or Ike Corte, which I thought he lost the Corte fight, and I thought he won the Whitaker fight by a round, maybe. But yeah, definitely probably the most overrated fighter of the last 20 years, not named Gennady Golovkin or Vasyl Lomachenko. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, Golovkin and Lomachenko are way overrated, and I think, listen, people, and it should be obvious why these two cats are overrated, okay? And I'm not gonna say why, because everyone knows why, and I don't have. The beautiful thing about it is I don't have to say why, because everyone already knows. I mean, if we were to go look at these guys' resumes, okay, I wouldn't even need a fine-tooth comb to start picking their resumes apart. Lomachenko's best win. I tell you, Lomachenko's 2 best wins, guys. I'm going to throw this question to you, Beeb. I hope you're listening.
I am.
Lomachenko's 2 best wins. What are they? Please. Anybody.
Who's 2 best wins? Golovkin's?
Who's 2?
You say Golovkin?
Lomachenko's 2 best wins.
Lomachenko's Gary Russell Jr. and
Nicholas Walters.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
That would be actually.
I would say Rigo. I would say Rigo.
That would be a damn good win.
I would say Rigo. Those are his 2 best wins. Those are his 2.
Yeah, Gary Russell Jr. and Rick it down.
His 2 best wins.
And you know what? Put those 2 best wins
Okay,
up against anybody.
Let me ask you a question, guys. All right, now let's just say, for argument's sake, that Lomachenko's 2 best wins are Rigondeaux and Nicholas Walters.
Gary.
My question to you is, would we really need to go there? I mean, do we really, really, really need to go there?
Go where?
Would I really need to sit here and explain to you guys why those 2 wins do not make a guy pound for pound number 1?
Yes.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Do we need to go there?
Yeah. Guillermo Rigondeaux.
We do?
Nicholas Walters, Roman Martinez, and Gary Russell Jr. Those are his best wins. Yeah. You give me a fighter with that kind of resume. Go ahead.
Are any one of those fighters going to make it in the Hall of Fame?
Mikey Garcia. Okay.
Come on, man.
Mikey Garcia all day long.
Come on.
Terrence Crawford.
Who was Terrence Crawford beat?
Mikey Garcia
Who is Terrence Crawford beat? Give me the best guy he's beat.
Terrence Crawford beat.
Who's the best
Terrence
guy?
Crawford beat Yuriorkis Gamboa, who beat Orlando Toledo, who beat Lomachenko.
In his second fight.
That's who Terrence Crawford beat.
In his second pro fight. He took a guy in his second pro fight that had over 40 fights.
He thought he was ready. He thought he was ready. He took the fight.
Are those violins out here playing in the background?
What's that?
Are those violins out here playing in the background? Because the excuses are starting to get a little thick. Okay.
Who was his best? Who was his best win? You're telling me Yuriorkis Gamboa is Terrence Crawford's best win?
Victor Postal.
That's in Victor Postal, and that's who you're putting up against these two?
Who's the guy?
You guys are naming
Who's the other guy? Who's that Cuban guy's name again? What's the Cuban guy's name again?
Gamboa.
No, the other guy.
No, what I'm saying is
the guy
who beat the guy who beat Vasily Lomachenko.
Felix Diaz. Felix Diaz was a very good fighter too. That was a very impressive win.
Dude.
And Dongo was a very impressive.
No, Felix Diaz was not an impressive win.
Right, Felix Diaz. I thought he beat Lamont Peterson.
Nah, I would rather see. You know who I would rather seen? I would like when I went back to this, and I kept saying this on that Felix Diaz fight. I would have rather seen Adrian Granados in there.
Yeah, but I thought this is the problem, and I'm going to just say one thing, and I hate to hijack Fight Doctor's call. Again, I'm going to repeat myself, and I apologize for being redundant. We thought the Postal fight was 50-50. We thought the Gamboa fight was we thought the Gamboa fight was going to be a tough fight. We thought the Felix Diaz fight was going to be a tough fight based off of Felix Diaz's performance against Lamont Peterson and his amateur pedigree, being the Olympic.
I didn't think that was a tough fight. I even called it before the fight.
You did, in defense to you, but a lot of other people disagree with you. So now we go back and see victories were. And this is what we do with all fighters. Before we say, "Oh, the fight's going to be great on paper," and then after the fact, then we go and we tear down the resume. I don't think we should be. I don't think we should do that. I think it's wrong. Go ahead, Fight Doctor. I'm sorry.
No worries. You're making my case. Okay. Terrence Crawford has not only has Terrence Crawford beat the guy who beat Vasily Lomachenko. Okay, he has completely dominated his opposition. He's lineal champion in 2 weight classes, moving up to his 3rd. Mikey Garcia, champion in 3 weight classes, going up to his 4th. Okay. Meanwhile, Lomachenko has beaten Nicholas Walters and a guy 37 years old, coming up 2 weight classes. Nicholas Walters, off for a year, looked like shit in his previous fight.
Doesn't Adrian Bronner have 4 world titles in 4 different weight classes?
Yep, he does.
Is he top pound for pound too?
Well, Bronner's coming off a loss. That's, by the way, unavenged. Sort of like how Lomachenko never avenged his loss.
Because Salido retired?
Losses count, guys. Okay, I'm sorry, but losses figure into the pound for pound debate. All right. Now, you can talk about who Terrence Crawford has beat or who he hasn't beat. You can talk about who Mikey Garcia has beat or who he hasn't beat. Well, here is what Mikey Garcia and Terrence Crawford have in common. They're both undefeated. Unfortunately, Lomachenko cannot make that same claim. Okay? So as I see it, when I do my math, at the end of my calculations, losses figure into the equation when I'm calculating pound for pound. And Terrence Crawford, Mikey Garcia, champions in multiple divisions, don't have a loss.
But remember, Fight Doctor, you're also a critic of Golovkin, and he's undefeated as well.
Yeah, but he has a draw. 2 best fighters he's fought. 2 best fighters he's fought, and he manages a gift and a draw.
Oh, that's a
good point. And this guy's supposed to be pound for pound number 1 or number 2.
Good point. Very good point.
GTFO-OH. Okay? Really. Honestly.
And then Lomachenko's only got 11 fights.
Let's talk about Bum Lufkin. Okay? Because the man has done nothing but beat up bums, stiffs, tomato cans, no hopers, and never was. Okay? And this first time they put him in front of a live body, what happens? He gets a gift. The second time they put him in front of a live body, he gets a draw. And
a lot of people think he won that fight, though.
Did you think
he won that fight?
I have said on this show that he needs to rematch Canelo, needs to win that, and he also needs to rematch Jacobs. What's wrong with that?
Did you think he won that fight against Triple G?
He's going to lose one of those fights.
Canelo and Triple G. Who do you think won that fight?
I thought it could have gone either way. Maybe a slight edge to Triple G. Maybe.
Okay, yeah. So he thought Triple G won the fight.
Listen, an argument can be made both ways. Okay? Now, I didn't see an argument for 118-110. I damn sure didn't see that fight.
No.
Okay?
No.
But even the judge that had Bum Lufkin winning the fight, he had a winning what? 115, 113?
He had a 115, 113.
Yeah,
so that's how I had it. So you take a round and you turn it the other way around, you got a draw. You take 2 rounds, turn them the other way around, and you got Canelo winning the fight. So, yeah, close fight. Could have gone either way.
Okay. Well, at least you're fair about that.
Yeah, he's fair about that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, all right, so the 2 judges who actually saw the fight, they had it basically 1 round apart. The 2 judges who saw the fight, they had the fight 1 round apart. So
exactly.
That means anyone who was objectively viewing that fight, you could have one round one way, or 1 round the other way, which are the scores we got except for the butt-off judge.
Yeah,
okay?
that's why Triple G and Canelo have to rematch. And if Triple G wins that fight, he immediately has to rematch Danny Jacobs. He can't go to Billy Joe Saunders and unify the title. He's got to rematch Jacobs because Jacobs deserves a rematch.
And this is also the reason why you cannot consider the man pound for pound number 1, because there are some question marks. Okay? Because from my view, in my opinion, there's an argument to be made that Jacobs could have won that fight. Okay? A close fight, could have gone either way. It's just that, you take away the bogus knockdown, and the knockdown was bogus. You take away the bogus knockdown, you give Jacobs that round, now all of a sudden you have a different fight. Now, real talk, okay? Real talk. Golovkin could have lost that fight. He damn well could have lost that fight. And a lot of people thought he did. All right? So
the Jacobs fight?
I think.
Yeah, I had him losing that fight. Yeah, I had Jacobs winning that fight.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
So
but I honestly believe, guys, that if Triple G beats Canelo in the rematch, instead of them pushing for a third fight, what would happen if Triple G beats Canelo, they're automatically going to push for a third fight. I think Danny Jacobs deserves a rematch. Because he earned a rematch.
Well, of course he does. There's no question. Okay, but I think when you look at the man's resume and you look at the 2 best fighters he's fought, you get a gift decision and a draw. And my question is, how in the hell does a guy whose 2 best victories, who's the 2 best guys that he's fought, he managed a draw and a gift decision, how does this guy get considered promoted to pound for pound number 1 status? Doesn't make sense, okay? Golovkin, Lomachenko, way overrated. And I don't need to sit here and I don't need to explain why. I think we already know, okay? Because you look at these guys' resumes, they're paper thin. Paper thin. Meanwhile, you got a guy like Andre Ward, who is made to move up, beats the boogeyman at the next higher weight class, and all of a sudden, ESPN, Dan Raphael catches amnesia with his fat ass. Okay? Teddy Atlas, with his Parkinson's having ass, he catches amnesia. Okay, he wants to leapfrog Lomachenko over Andre Ward, Terrence Crawford. Andre Ward, Terrence Crawford to prove way much more than Lomachenko has. So, I mean, this shit is sickening, man. I mean, it's sickening. It's crazy, all right? And we all know what it is, and I don't need to say what it is because we all know what it is, all right? And it's ass backwards and turned around, and I would like to think that our sport can move beyond such a petty and wasteful way of thinking, or such a small way of thinking, but unfortunately, that's not the world we live in.
But do you say that everybody who has Lomachenko pound for pound over Terrence Crawford is a racist?
No, I'm not saying that. There are some people who are clueless, but where ESPN is concerned, I think it's both. Okay?
All right. Fight Doctor, you've been heard, my man. Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate it. Hey, and have a good holiday. Happy holidays, man.
Happy holidays.
All right, man.
Happy holidays.
We have another show. All right, man. Good deal. All right, let's buzz through this news here. As we reported earlier, Mikey Garcia will face Sergey Lipinets on February 10th on Showtime, and that will be in the Alamo Dome in Texas. And I know we talked about the venues in Texas, but that seems to be a big one for that fight. I don't know if they're going to draw. I'd be surprised if they drew 10,000 for that fight.
I have no idea why they picked that place, because with the arena completely open, you can put like 75,000 people in there.
Yeah, I mean, they shut off the upper bowls and stuff like that for it, but
right.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's going to be a tough one. But I mean, Mexicans buy fights, man. We love fights, so hey, you never know.
Yeah,
they always turn out
the biggest crowd that's ever showed up at the Alamo Dome for a boxing match was 40,000 when Canelo fought Trout.
How many were there for Chavez Whitaker at the Alamo Dome?
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
That was sold out, I think.
Was it like 60,000?
That's what I thought too. Yeah, it was like 60 grand. Yeah, it was up there, man.
I think it was pretty much sold out.
Yeah.
And then Greg Haugen versus Chavez.
I was talking about the most recent times. I forgot about Whitaker and Chavez.
Yeah, that's right. Greg Haugen and Chavez in Mexico had almost 100,000 or something crazy.
I think that's a record
at Azteca Stadium. Remember that?
Yeah.
On the pay-per-view.
It's crazy, man.
Record.
Man, Don King put on the best cards, man.
Yeah, I know. That is the boxing record. Joshua is the only one that could break that if they could find a place big enough.
Yeah, right. We talked about Jeff Horn and Gary Corcoran. Jeff Horn won that fight. The mandatory for Jeff Horn now is Terrence Crawford, but Jeff Horn says he wants $5 million to face Terrence Crawford. Horn's team said they will not accept a $1 million offer. They need a lot more to face Crawford, and I tell you what, I don't blame them because they're going to be buying that title off of him. Adrian Bronner versus Omar Figueroa is rumored to happen early next year. And our train wreck of the week, Diego De La Hoya comes in almost 5 pounds overweight. There was, and some of you guys may have noticed this, there was a ESPN card with Diego De La Hoya last week that got canceled. The card actually went on, but was a Golden Boy card. Diego De La Hoya was headlining it against Jose Salgado. De La Hoya didn't even make it to the scales. He didn't even make it to the scales. He was reportedly 4.5 pounds overweight. I don't know what happened. I don't know how you come in 4 pounds overweight. Golden Boy tried to get the fight to continue, but Salgado's team said, nope, we're not doing it. So there you go.
All right, go ahead. Do it. Go ahead.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Hold on, Robert. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Do it. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Hurry up. We're not waiting. Hurry up. Puts her lipstick on because she wants to do it. Come on. Hurry up. Put your lipstick on. Look at her. Go ahead.
Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
All right. There you go.
There you go.
She won't be able to sleep tonight if she can't do it.
I kept her up late. Tell her I'm sorry. I kept her up late.
It's all right.
One other thing, Eric, before we get out of here, a rumor I heard, I don't know how much truth there is, but the rumor I hear Carl Frampton's next fight, and I don't know where it would be, is supposed to be against Nonito Donaire, April 7th.
Yeah, that's a heavy rumor. I don't know. I know the fight hasn't been scheduled or anything like that, but I'd like to see that fight. I'd like that. I like that fight. Carl Frampton needs to get back.
Styles.
But I wonder how much Nonino Donaire has left, because the last time I seen him in the ring, he looked awful.
Yeah, probably 0. Also, too, just in some notice here, December 24th, which is Sunday, we won't have a show. Both the 24th and the 31st are both holidays. So we got Christmas Eve and then we got New Year's Eve. So we will be having the show next Wednesday instead. All right, we'll be having a show next Wednesday at 7 p.m. That's our year-end review. December 27th at 7 p.m. All right, so tune in for that. And that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert or call him on Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. Catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week, and everybody have some happy holidays.
Take care, everyone. Have a great holiday.